Hello and welcome back to the Out of Mana podcast, episode 32. I am at The Real Shiesty, joined with at Joshua, and you can find our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Twitch, YouTube, MySpace, Facebook, High Five. It's probably on Pornhub somewhere, but you might have to look hard for it, pun intended. And where else, Josh? Where else am I missing?
You got all the bases
I got
covered
a,
there.
Damn, look at that, fucking nailing it. So, with all that said, in this week's podcast, we're going to take another part two on Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, as well as the Final Fantasy 16 State of Play. Yeah, that's what we're going to talk about today for the most part. With that said, I'll open it up to Josh. How are you doing, my good sir?
Doing pretty good. As for people that don't know, recently in our area, it's been extremely nice out. So I've just been enjoying the outdoor weather and the warm summer nights and gaming. What about
Nice,
you?
nice, nice. So since our last pod, which was last week Thursday, so we had a little extra day to kind of um, do whatever. Sorry, drinking water. So I went out of state, right? Went to go visit family for Easter out of state. Got to see my 4-month-old niece, who is just a bundle of love, and I just love her so much. So I got to spoil her, and then came back. Didn't do too much Monday, but I also had that off. And then Tuesday, went out with some friends to go see my first Broadway musical in the Book of Mormon, which was also very good. Pleasantly surprised. For those that don't know, Book of Mormon is written by Matt Stone and Trey Parker of South Park notoriety. So if you are a South Park fan and you haven't seen Book of Mormon, I would highly recommend it because as you're watching, you could easily tell it's written by them. Like, there's no end of buts about it. So it was really, really funny. I don't know if I would consider myself a musical person now that I've gotten to experience it. Like, I don't know what else I would enjoy as a musical. Like, I don't know. I guess maybe there may be something out there that I'll be like, okay, I want to check that out. But overall, I don't think the musical or Broadway musical form of entertainment is really for me. But since that was more comedy driven, which I adore, that's why I enjoyed it. And then basically, what else then? Other than that, just everything's been status quo. Played a little bit of WoW. Haven't really delved into anything else, but as we do every week, we kind of talk about games that we may have gotten or what have you. So I didn't purchase a new game, but my niece's excuse me, father let me borrow Resident Evil 8
Village.
Village. So I feel like it'll be disrespectful not to play it. So I may actually start this tonight, depending on what transpires.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know if I'm really gonna. I don't know if you've 100% this game or not. I know you played it, right? No? Yes.
Yes,
No?
I did. I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't beat it though.
Oh, really? Interesting. Okay. So I don't know what it's going to take to 100% it, platinum it, but I wouldn't say it's probably something I'm going to make sure I do, but we'll check that out we'll cross that bridge when it happens. Um, Other than that, that really has been my weekly makeup. Oh, I guess another little hobby news. I did return from my trip to a couple of boxes of Final Fantasy VII, like, trading cards. Like, well, you know me buying all these fucking cards, right? So I saw these and I'm like, I love Final Fantasy VII, so said, fuck it, let me do it. So opened 2 boxes of this. It was an interesting product. I don't have any cards around me to showcase, but they're just really just art cards, really. But I already threw a few of them on eBay to try to flip them, and it's funny because I didn't know. So the breakdown of the set is basically just 99 cards, so it's a very small set with only 3 of them having variants.
Mhm.
And then every card also could be a holographic or holofoil card. So in theory, it's like 200 plus cards. On top of that, there's like I guess premium rare cards or whatever. And on eBay, I found out what they were, and they're selling for like thousands. Well, they're trying to get thousands of dollars for these cards, but they're like prints of Cloud and Sephiroth, but they're like autographed, which is like there's no such thing as them being real, but they look really fucking cool. So I was like, I didn't get one, of course, but I was like, that's very cool. That's very cool. So, anyways, that's really been the gist of my week. Do you have any more to elaborate on your week other than you said enjoying the nice weather, which is true,
So yeah, I'll go on mine in a little
and
bit, but I
gaming?
want to ask you more about yours.
Sure.
So when you said you looked on eBay for the sell,
Mhm.
was there any actual sell comps, or was it just posted
No,
listings?
no posting. That's why I said I corrected myself really quickly. I said selling. I said, well, trying to sell. Um, so it's funny because the cards even that I listed were just like were my duplicates because I bought 2 boxes, right?
Mm.
So I had a few duplicates of the holofoil cards. So the single ones I'm keeping for myself. I'm gonna personally collect those, and then the dupes I'm trying to flip. Get some money back. And I did get one of my duplicate cards was a variant card, which is pretty cool. It's a Cloud one. So I was trying to get like $75 for that, which is almost the price of the box. So so far nobody has bidded on it, but I did have an Aerith card where she's wearing the dress that she wore for Cornelio or whatever his name is, Corneo. And that's a holographic card. So that one I put up for $25 and somebody bid on it already. So that's like more than a quarter of what I paid for it. So that one's cool. But yeah, they're just a listing price. I don't know what they would actually sell for, but like I thought about, I was like, man, if I did get that, would I try to flip it or would I keep it? Because they do look really badass.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. How cards just vary in prices. So is there any? Is it just Final Fantasy VII cards, or do they have other
Yeah,
cards as well?
no, it's just Final Fantasy VII.
I wonder why they chose Final Fantasy VII specifically just to make cards and all the other games.
No, there is an answer for that. Oh, it doesn't say it on this box, but I think it's because it's their 30, 35th or 25th anniversary, something like that.
Square Enix or another company?
No, for the game
Oh,
itself,
okay.
part 7. So that's kind of why they did it.
So are those cards easily accessible to buy? Can you like go to like any shop, or do you have to go specifically to somewhere like a card shop?
Uh, as far as I know, I think it's explicitly through the Square Enix store, whether it's US, UK, or Japan. Um, but I'm sure that doesn't stop like a card shop to buy
Yeah.
a shitload of them and sell them in their store, if they want to.
It seems like Square Enix is just trying to capitalize on their market because like even with their collected edition for 16, you can only get to their site, only at their site.
Yeah, and I did.
You spent
Unlike
that three
Tears of the
hundred fifty
Kingdom,
dollars.
and I mean we'll see if it was worth every penny when I get it.
Oh, the statue
Um,
itself looks pretty cool. So I mean, that's got to be worth the money.
yeah, and without going into in detail with our topic for today, like that statue, yeah, because it has a Phoenix versus is it
Ifrit?
Ifrit?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think. Uh, but man, Phoenix in that gameplay looks so fucking beautiful. Like, oh my god.
We'll
So
talk
now
about
that
more of that later, but
yeah,
yeah,
that's
it
what I'm
does
saying.
look
That's what I'm saying.
good.
But now it's like, oh yeah, that's gonna be my statue. Fuck yeah.
Yeah. Did they actually like tell the dimensions? Because that was like 16 inches or like 14 inches.
I'm pretty sure the dimensions were given, and I'm pretty sure it was bigger than a foot.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
not bad.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
because
pretty sure.
I was looking at it, I'm like, dude, $350, and I'm like, I do like that statue, but I have a cat that likes to get everywhere, and I'm like, if she breaks that,
Yeah.
that cat might die.
First off, we know the cat won't die, but yes, that would suck horribly.
Yeah, but going back to the other thing you mentioned, the music, the Book of Mormon. I thought that was just
Yes,
a play. So that's a musical.
yes, yep. It's a Broadway musical.
More racing going
Yeah,
on. That's
Yeah,
interesting that they
it's
chose a musical as their performance.
I mean, unless to your point, there actually is a play version. I really don't know, but what I watched was a musical. It was song after song after song after song. There's very little um, in between song dialogue,
Mm.
so it was done really well. I think the first there was an intermission. I think the first part was definitely longer than the second. I think the first part was like an hour and like 15, and then the second was like an hour.
So did it feel like a classical, like, musical where it's just people on stage and like some background settings, or what was it, like a digital background, them playing with the background?
Ooh, good question. Think I don't think it was digital, but now that you ask, it makes me wonder for a few of them, a few of the sets, because they did have drapes, right? They did do a lot of drapes. That's what I'm saying. I don't think it was digital. Um, and they did have set pieces, which is also very amazing how quickly they transition and like they reuse set pieces, like they just flip them, to go like in and out of houses or whatever. Um, but yeah, it was very, I don't want to call it low budget because I'm sure that shit costs money, but yeah, it wasn't like high, like it didn't seem like it costed a lot of money.
Yeah, that's the one thing that's always interests me about like plays and musicals. Like, even though it's not really for me, it's the people that work in the background to me are the most amazing people because the
Oh
fact
yeah.
that they're transitioning from dressing
Hmm.
to set
Yeah,
pieces to just characters itself, like within a short amount of time, is just
yeah,
fascinating.
exactly. It's like so seamless, so seamless. It is fantastic. They did have like at one point they used like I guess like a disco ball, which was pretty cool because it like
Just
did it for
dropped
the
out from the
whole
ceiling.
theater. But yeah, it was really good. It makes me wonder if they have it like on a DVD or something.
Most
Pretty
likely
sure.
they do. Usually they make like a media version of it.
Yeah, like probably like when it first came out, like when they had like, I mean, not to take it away from the people that acted that I saw this past week, but usually like the first go around is like the premiere kind of actors and stuff. Um, so yeah, I don't know, but it was really funny. I enjoyed it.
Now you're making me want to see it because there's only I think the
I
last.
know you would enjoy it. I know you would enjoy it.
Because I mean, it wasn't a play, but there's a thing called Cirque du Soleil Ka, where they do like a whole
Okay.
bunch of acrobatics and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I know they
Hmm.
have a media version. I actually seen that because it was gifted with the hotel, but I went in person to see it.
Hmm.
Not to say just certain things you had to see in person, like people swinging
Hmm.
around actually
Hmm.
above your seat and doing, yeah, it's just a different experience than just viewing it on TV.
Yeah, I could imagine. Yeah. And that wasn't when you were in Vegas?
Yeah, dude, I've
Yeah, yeah.
seen so many shows in Vegas. I've seen David Copperfield, which I know it's gonna sound bad to a lot of people, but to me he's overrated because his magic didn't seem that good. But
Okay.
I seen Cirque du Soleil, Ka, and then I seen there was another Cirque du Soleil one that they had going on. One was more like acrobatics. The other one was more like dancing for like Asian scenery, like some kind of Asian story they're telling.
Hmm.
But those two are really good. And then I seen some kind of musical group. They do like environmental instruments and all that stuff. Not like the Blue Man Group, but like something different. I forgot their name. That's pretty
Have you
good.
ever seen the Blue Man Group?
I have not, and apparently they're
Yeah,
also in
me either.
Chicago.
Oh, they're back again. I mean, they tend to come and do new types of gigs every now and then, but yeah, I've never seen them either.
So, well, I'm convinced that the Blue Man Group isn't just four guys. It's just like a production team because like there's the one in Vegas, which I think is the one everybody goes to, but there's
Mm-hmm.
another Blue Man Group in Chicago specifically, and
Mm-hmm.
it's on the north side.
Mm, interesting. So I wonder, like, are they like just always here, or is it kind of like a seasonal thing,
That I do not know.
like
All I know is
like
I just
Broadway, because they kind of switch them in and out, you know?
that I don't know because it looked like the building was owned by them because it just had
Uh-huh.
their name and face on the building, and it
Gotcha.
wasn't a huge building, but it was like a small one that says shows from this time to this time and all that stuff.
Is it like what is it called? The Briar Street Theater? Is that still a thing, or did they rename it now?
Uh,
I don't know why that one's ringing a bell to me.
I honestly don't know. It wasn't like a theater. It
Okay,
was just like a normal like building that you just go into.
gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that would probably. I mean, I don't think that's considered a musical, but that's another one I wouldn't mind checking out for sure, just because it's been around for so damn long, and usually the reviews have been pretty good from what I hear.
Yeah, too bad I swear I like had the address saved down, but I think I'm gonna wait. Hold on. It was next to Broadway Street.
Interesting. Okay.
But going back to the final thing I want to ask about your week
Hmm.
is that you said you got Resident Evil Village from your not your brother, your sister's
My,
brother-in-law,
my
or your
no,
brother-in-law.
no, no. Well, no, they're not married, so that's why I didn't call him my brother-in-law.
Oh,
So I said, I said, or I should say, my sister's baby's daddy,
baby daddy.
baby daddy. So yeah,
So, is there a reason why you borrowed it? Like, do you want to play it the whole time?
no. So when I got there, they had asked if I played four yet, and
Oh,
I said no, but like I definitely would like to. I said I'm not like in a hurry, but it's everybody's giving it like fucking really good reviews. And he's like, "Oh, I'm playing it right now." I'm like, "Oh, well, I'll watch you play it." So I watched it for a little bit, and I was like, "Yeah, that shit fucking looks." And so then after that, like he started scrummaging through his games. He's like, have you played this one? I'm like, actually, no, I haven't played that one or seven. He's like, well, if you want to borrow, I'm like, okay, fuck it. I'm like, so I'll bring it back next time I come out. He's like, oh, no rush. I'm like, okay. He's like, I already finished it, so it's like really. He didn't say I didn't need it back, but he kind of said it that way.
he was like, I'm done with that. Moved on to bigger and better things.
Yeah, yeah. He's like, I went backwards on my four now.
That's kind of funny because you just got Resident Evil Village, and I actually just bought Resident Evil Village like 3 weeks ago because it was on sale at like GameStop for like $5. Well, it was $10, but I had a little discount going on. So
Mhm.
I also have a PS5 as well, and it's kind of funny that we both got it around the same time, and we're probably gonna play it
That's funny.
because of four.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, but it's like I think it's still like extremely different than four because isn't this one
It's
more first person?
well, it started off first person, but now there's a third person mode.
Oh, okay. So this one does have the two different modes.
Yeah, I don't know if it
Okay.
affects the gameplay because I only played it first person mode a long time ago when I actually borrowed it from someone else.
Mm-hmm.
But supposedly third person plays really well, and actually a lot of people prefer it that way because it feels like the original Resident
Because
Evils.
exactly, I was gonna say because the original ones were like that. Like
Yeah,
I think first person's more VR, right? Um, which I'm not fucking with
I
that.
will say that you know I, I'll admit it. The Resident Evil Village scared me. There's certain parts when I'm in the dungeon where it's just like creepy and there's chains going around, and for me,
Mm.
visually, it doesn't scare me. The audio scares me. And when you're
Mm.
first person, you hear things creeping up on you. That
Mm-hmm.
scared the crap out of me. But in third person, from what I've seen, I'm like, oh, I could do that easy
Mm.
because I know what's coming for me. But when
Oh
you're
wait, so wait,
first,
when you're saying you got scared, but you didn't play with VR, right? Or does this even version have a VR version?
I don't know. I don't know if it has
Oh,
VR,
okay,
but
okay.
when I was
But you're
playing
just
it,
saying,
yeah, it was
oh,
just
sorry.
normal
Okay,
playing on the TV, and I had my headset
gotcha,
on. But just hearing like
gotcha,
the background,
gotcha.
the sound just terrifies you.
I will say because now that I have the headset too, playing through Octopath, like the headset does sound so much better.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, also if you have a solid headset, because like if you buy the official PlayStation headset, or if you buy like one of these that have 3D audio capabilities, and you play like
I,
a horror game, it'll psych you out because it sounds like they're all around you.
yeah, I don't know if I now you got me like, I guess I have to try it now, right? Like I have to, at least for a little bit.
Well, dude, if you want a good
That's
headset right now, I actually just
well,
bought these recently. It's called the Steel Series 7X, and these are the only wireless headphones that are compatible with all systems.
oh, interesting. No, mine's I don't know if it's considered the official PlayStation one, but I think it might be. Um, and it's well, it's wireless too. So, but like I said, for Octopath, which dare I say, isn't really a very huge audio intensive game in that aspect with the 3D environment. I mean, the music sounded fantastic and I loved it, but to those layers, like it doesn't really have that, right? I mean, maybe a little bit of footsteps, but that's really nothing. Um, so yeah, just to know what it did for that game versus what, to your point, what it could do for this game, like that does sound very creepy. But I guess I'll have to try it, right? So.
Yeah, it's funny because like when I heard 3D spatial audio before, I thought it was like a
Hmm.
gimmick. But when you have
Hmm.
actually have a good headset and you're playing a game that optimizes audio correctly, And it's a whole different experience because you'll start hearing like the footsteps will be faint on the right side, and then as soon as they get closer, it starts getting louder, and then it's on both sides. You're like, oh, they're right behind me.
Well, so that's what I was just gonna say. Like, isn't that extremely helpful? Because it's like, okay, if I'm not hearing it close on this side, I know they have to be on this side, right? Like that.
Well,
That I think.
it is
I,
helpful, but you also get like a chill in your spine. Like I hear
yeah,
them, but I don't know
yeah.
how far away they are.
Like you just take out your gun and just start doing this, but walking forward.
But yeah, it's definitely a fun experience, and if you want to like really get immersed, dude, put the headset on, make sure your 3D
I'll
audio is
try it.
enabled, and
Yeah,
you're good.
I'll try it for a little bit. But since we're talking about Resident Evil so much right now, I don't have it in front of me, and actually now I just remember I didn't even watch it, but the latest trailer for the
Oh, Death Island.
Death Island came out, and what is it? It's like July, right? July something, July 7th maybe or something.
I know it's coming out relatively soon, but dude, that's
Yeah,
funny.
and it has like almost all the OGs in it, like every single one of them, which is interesting.
Well,
Um,
they do have all of them. Supposedly Albert Wesker's there too. They have Jill Valentine, Chris Redfield, Claire Redfield, Leon, and they also have Rebecca Chambers. That's all the OG
yeah,
characters.
yeah, it's all of them. It's crazy. It's cool.
And Leon and Jill have never met each other at all at any point in time, and this is the first time they're gonna meet.
Interesting. It seems like they're giving more of a, I don't want to say lead, but more of center to Jill in it. So we'll see.
Jill's one of those weird characters. So like, you watch the live action Resident Evil movies, right?
Only the first one, unfortunately. I need to catch up. I
Okay,
need to watch the other ones.
so that girl, what's her name? Alice? Is that the girl's name in the movie?
Oh, in the real movies?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, Alice.
So Alice was originally designed after Jill because Jill was
I could
supposed to be
see
the
it.
main character because of her getting infected by the tyrant, and that's how she gets those abilities. Supposedly in this movie they rewrote her character where she got infected by Albert Wesker.
Mm.
So I think that's why they're kind of like making it look like she's the main character because now she's infected with the T virus and she might have certain abilities. Which makes sense because I'm convinced Chris is infected too because he could punch a rock down.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, so I definitely the only thing like I was well no not that one. I was thinking of something else. But yeah, it's just it from what I saw it looked really good. I do need to watch the other ones though too.
So do they say if this is coming out in theaters or if it's just like a release?
No, I don't know. I don't think there's any. I mean, there might be selected theater releases, but I don't recall seeing them. I don't know if I would go.
Because I didn't see any streaming service either.
You know what? It's a good point. I'm not too sure if I did either.
It's like they just released a date and that was it. They didn't tell you where to watch it. They didn't tell you if it's gonna be on services, theater, DVD.
Usually that shit comes out on Netflix, but I don't know. That's a good point. But anyway, I just wanted to bring it up, since we're talking about Resident Evil. Some other, I guess, quick news that we could kind of bring up very briefly. We really clamored about the Mario movie last week, and it's having a renowned amount of success. It's already, I believe, surpassed 500 million.
Yes.
And dethroned Warcraft tier. No, I'm just playing. But I think you mentioned it. I mentioned it that we already pre-ordered our 4K DVDs, and I thought I saw an article on that as well. That the pre-DVD sales are really just stupid.
So I gotta ask, where'd you pre-order
yes.
yours? Did you get it Walmart or Best Buy? Because I kind of like the Best Buy Steelbook, but I know that everybody likes that Walmart Star.
I think I got the Walmart Star.
Okay.
Yeah, I did.
It looks cool, but I'm like on a shelf. That thing looks like it's odd.
Yeah, it wouldn't make sense on it, but still, it's like it was their exclusive, so it's like okay, I gotta get that one.
You're like, screw it, I'm buying it twice.
Yeah, well, no, well, yeah, I probably won't. The only movie I bought more than twice. Look at me, fucking super fanboy here. I bought Warcraft 3 fucking times.
Wait, hold on. Did you buy like a collector's edition Blu-ray and then 4K?
Yes. Exactly those. But that's because because stupid fucking marketing. They had like every store had their own exclusive.
Mm.
right? So like one store had like the steel book, which other stores didn't. The other store, I think, had like extra footage DVD, and then the 4K.
It's funny that you mentioned that because, like, as much as I want to make fun of you for buying movies twice, I've done that for many different movies. Like, for example, Detective Pikachu, Shaggy Show and Tell Time. I originally
Uh-huh,
bought this on Blu-ray when it came out because I didn't have the
uh-huh,
4K in my area,
uh-huh.
and now I just recently bought the 4K for like $7 and it was new. But I've
Nice.
also done that with the John Wick series. I had it on Blu-ray, then upgrade to 4K. Same thing
Uh-huh,
with Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings. I had to do 4K
uh-huh.
for each of those.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if I have any other movies that I've bought multiple times. Ah, I'm sure there has to be. I just don't remember. Um, mm, I would have to look at my shelf. But yeah, Warcraft definitely is the only movie I've bought 3 times. That is fact. Um, Mario right now, I'm only getting that one. I haven't seen anything else about any other special editions or whatever. Um, when it comes to TV shows, I've always avoided buying Game of Thrones because I always like, okay, if I ever buy Game of Thrones, I want it to end and I want to buy the whole collection. And they did do a whole collection, which was like a stupid amount of money. And I don't know if it ever went down. And I'd probably have to look it up now
It's
because
still a lot of money for like 4K. It's like 150, 160, like
oh, I thought it
$106.
was more than that. Actually, that might not be a bad price then.
Okay. Well, yeah,
But
but when I checked, it's usually on like considered sale.
yeah, I think nowadays because time has passed, you probably could get, dare I say, a deal for it. But yeah, same thing like with Entourage. I never bought the seasons, and finally when it ended, well, thankfully I got it as a present, so I didn't even have to pay for it. But I eventually got it, the whole thing as a present. So
So, have you ever been like super tempted to buy a really expensive collector's edition for any TV show or movie? Because I know for me, I have one. It was the Lord of the Rings. It came with like Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, all 6 films, and it came
mhm.
with like all the special editions. They also had one with Tolkien when a long time ago when he was doing his recordings for the books and all that stuff and his original scripts. They digitized that and put it all in that collector's edition for like $400.
Yeah, I think I do recall seeing that, and me and my buddies were thinking about putting in money to get it for one of my friends, but we didn't. Um, no, I have not. Um, I don't think I've seen one. I know Batman, the Nolan trilogy, at one point had a pretty decent one, but in all honesty, right now I don't even remember what the fuck it contained. There was one that I was close to buying. It wasn't super expensive, but it was the Ninja Turtles, the OG ones, because it came in like
It came
their
with the van, right?
yeah, yeah, and it was like I was like that's so awesome, but I didn't pull the trigger on it. So because
So
I was like, if I buy it, I'm never gonna watch these discs.
dude, if you had, well, it's not promotion here, but if you had Paramount Plus, all the TMNT stuff is on there. The
No, and that's
OG, the
fine. No,
2005
that's
one.
fine. But we're talking about you know physical products here, right? I mean, it's like
Yeah.
I mean, there's always still something special a little bit to me of having it like there. Like
Well,
I don't
especially if
know
it's
if
a
it,
series that you love too.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, other than that, no, I haven't really had any desire to, or I've never seen one that really is like, oh my god, I have to have that one.
Well, the Christopher Nolan one I did buy.
Oh,
I,
did you?
I,
What did it come with? What was special with it?
so I don't know if this is the one you're talking about, but this is the
Hmm.
one that released in like 2015, 16. It was the 4K version, and it came inside the Batmobile.
I might have seen that one. Yeah.
And it wasn't just like a small Batmobile. It was like you know, well, you can't see because it was pretty big, but
Mhm.
it opened up, kind of like how it did in the movie, and all three discs pop out.
Mm,
It's
okay.
pretty
Yeah,
cool.
I'm wondering if that might have been the one I saw. Um, but yeah.
The only problem though is it looks like a toy, and I had some little cousin kids play with it, and they broke it.
No. Well, that sucks. That's a ball buster.
Yeah,
Um,
that's why I'm like,
but
no wonder why you don't like, your family come to your apartment because the kids will destroy all your stuff. Like Bowser, bah, break.
yeah. Well, I guess I didn't really have that big of a concern because we don't really have kids in the family right now. So, well, now with the niece, but I'm sure I'm sure we'll figure that out later. But yeah, some other little news just transpiring like right before we started this podcast, like a couple hours. In the world of video game acquisitions, it looks like Sega might be buying Rovio, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, the company behind Angry Birds for $1 billion. Yeah, I know it's an interesting one.
So there
Um,
is is that do they only make Angry Birds?
I don't know. That's what got me wondering. I mean, I only know them from Angry Birds. I mean, Angry Birds use, dare I use the word use, but I'm pretty sure I'm accurate. Extremely popular. Like I remember so many people were playing it, myself included. But then once they started like getting into expansions and start doing collabs, like that's where they kind of lost me because I think didn't they do like a Star Wars collab? I think was one of their first ones.
They have everything,
Um,
but
have they? Yeah.
Angry Birds is just well, obviously, like you said, it's successful, but that's because it's a mobile game. So I wonder
Hmm.
what Sega's gonna do with that.
It's a very good question. I
Sega
have
is a
no
weird
idea.
company. Like their ideas are weird. Like they bought Angry Birds, but yet they have video games like Shenmue that they don't want to make more of because for some other reason the director said he wanted to make more. They have do they still own Sonic?
I would think they still own Sonic.
Okay,
I
because
mean,
I thought they were bought up by someone else because they couldn't. Maybe they just collab and they just get partnership money from that. What was the other game they had? There's another big game that they had. I can't remember, but it's like they do nothing with those guys.
I'm trying to think what else is under their umbrella that's Sonic popular. Well, nothing Sonic popular. I take that back. But oh no, they never owned Earthworm Jim, did they? No, Earthworm Jim is owned by somebody else.
I'm looking this up right
Uh,
now. Sega games because I know there's one more that they like just completely scrapped, even though people love it. Oh well, they own Tetris apparently.
they own Tetris.
It says
What?
1984 Tetris. I don't know how that happened. I thought that was a Nintendo thing.
No, no, I
Well,
know that wasn't a
Nintendo
Nintendo thing.
partnership.
I thought it was Atari.
I just
That's
typed
who I
in
thought it
Sega
was.
games. Oh,
I thought
Fantasy
it.
Star Online. That's the one they canned. That's a
Ah,
big one.
that one was a popular one. Yep, yep. That was like one of the OG. Wasn't it like an MMO? That one
Yeah, I think it
kind of
was. I think Fantasy Star Online 2 was an MMO. I think the first one was
like Elder Scrolls Offline.
yeah. And
Okay.
also Bayonetta, and obviously we know with all the drama they had with Bayonetta.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Interesting. Hmm.
Oh wow! Apparently Sega owns a lot of stuff. They also own a very popular series called Persona.
That
Uh,
is very popular.
and
Never play it, but it is popular.
they also own the Yakuza series too,
Okay.
which is interesting because whenever I hear Yakuza, I think of the Atlas game company, but I guess Atlas is owned by Sega, so I guess they are doing stuff. Maybe I just judged them too soon.
um. So yeah, so I want to bring that up because I saw that on social media before we started, and my I guess final bit of short news. I linked it to you, but I don't think I got a response from you. Um, Supposedly Nintendo's trying to do some sort of like event in Seattle where their headquarters is at. Don't know what that's about, but that's supposed to happen. I forgot when this year.
I wonder if it's gonna happen during PAX East because they said they're doing that as well.
Oh, maybe. I didn't really cross check dates, but like they didn't use the word convention, and I'm thinking they're refraining from using the word convention, but they did mention it was a public thing. So it's like, okay, what are you guys trying to do?
That'd be pretty cool.
So
If they do a convention, I might be really tempted to try to go to that one.
I concur. Like, but I would have to first know that that's exactly what it is because I've never been to Seattle, so that'd give obviously a very good reason to go. Um, but yeah, it had there's very little details at this point in time.
Is somebody operating a power tool near you?
No, that was the toilet.
What? You might need to get that checked out by someone.
Dude, so it's funny that same noise you heard, right? They used to happen when I owned my condo, and I'm like okay, something's going on with my toilet, but it keeps happening, and I never addressed it, never addressed it, and now that I moved here, it does the same fucking thing. I'm like, okay, maybe
It
it's
must be the water moving through the pipes.
it has to be like it has to be because I'm elevated, and yeah, exactly. So watch somebody listening is totally wrong, and they leave a comment like, dude, you want to get that check, you're gonna
Yeah.
get fucked.
You won't blow up. But going on, staying with Nintendo, some of the things I actually bought recently because because of the movie and
Hmm.
everything being popular, Mario had a huge sale. If you bought these games, the GameStop recently did a buy two get one free
Mm,
deal, and
okay.
these two games each were $37. And I
Oh,
also got Luigi's Mansion as well, which I know it came without a case, but I was talking to the GameStop guy. Whenever they get a case in store, they're gonna give it to me so I can put this in the case.
okay.
But $37 for these two games, and I get another game free. That's
Well,
not a
technically
bad
all
deal.
three. Yeah, 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 for sure,
Yeah,
for
because
sure. Because like you said, it's so rare for Nintendo deals.
yeah, well,
Um,
it's rare for Nintendo deals, but for them to be $37, like
mhm,
usually if they do a sale, it's like $50 or $49, whatever.
yeah,
37 for both of these, and
but
I'm like, that's just the
but
price of one full game.
but are they brand new or were they uh
So
used? I
they're
thought they're
they're pre-owned. Yeah.
yeah pre-owned, right? Okay, that's what I thought because I remember seeing the whatever the sale announcement.
Yeah, they had the new one
Um,
for basically $40, but if you bought it, it was just $40 flat, and you didn't get like buy two
you
get one
couldn't.
free. So
Correct,
I was
correct.
like, why not save some money, get this case still, no difference really, and get a
Hmm.
free game with it. I was like, I'm gonna
And
do it.
and like the best, well, dare I say the best part? I mean, obviously those little disc or not disc, what do they call it? Cassettes, I guess.
I call them
Um,
cartridges.
or cartridges. Thank you. I mean, they could obviously still get damaged and not work, but generally speaking, that doesn't really happen. Like you're more concerned with the discs and being scratched up and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's the one. As much as I usually like the disc because of the cover art,
Hmm.
one thing Nintendo has nailed, which I'm gonna give them credit for, their cartridges usually hold up pretty well. They're very durable.
Yeah.
Like if you
Hmm.
look here, everything's in good condition. If you look at the back, you could tell
Hmm.
if it was scratched or not, and if it was, they'll refund you. But this is like
Hmm.
pretty much not even used condition because when you put it in your Switch for the first time, it does get a little couple streaks because it breaks it in. This one has
Hmm.
no streaks, so that means this was never used.
Exactly. Exactly. Since you brought up Mario games, not news, but Miyamoto did kind of hint that whenever they do have um, their next direct, that maybe we might actually get some new Mario game news. We'll
so,
see.
so it's funny that you say that because you know how I said after watching the Mario movie, I'd love to see a four-player co-op game.
Hmm.
After I can't remember which one it was. Maybe it was this one. One of these is four-player co-op. Four-player co-op does not play well in these games. So I'm thinking I want an Odyssey style game where you go through different POVs of certain characters. Like let's say you get an Odyssey game, and a couple levels you're playing as Mario. You switch to Donkey Kong or Luigi or Peach or whatever, and you're playing as them. And you constantly switch back and forth because in one of these games, the co-op, if you're the only good platformer and you're playing with other people that suck, you're leaving them behind. They're getting carried in a bubble. That's it.
Hmm. Hmm. I mean, I'm not against one of those games. I mean, I'd welcome it. Um, I just wonder, like, as we all know, their online service sucks. Like, I just want a Nintendo game like that fun that could actually work well online. Like the only online game through Nintendo that I've played that dare I use the word flawless, because I'm gonna say that very loosely, but the only game that I've done online through Nintendo and the Switch that works extremely well was Animal Crossing. But it's not that vigorous, right? Like you join an island and you have fun.
Well, same thing like
So
this, like because like you say, it's not it's just movement. That's it. You're not really fighting each other. This is pretty
mhm.
good online as well.
Hmm. Like I would just love to your point, like if they did have an Odyssey version and you could co-op online and all be in the same whatever world map together to accomplish certain things, like that'd be dope as hell. Like Odyssey 1 having, although it wasn't online at all, but to have player 2 be Cappy was pretty fucking lame.
Mm.
Um so so yeah, I mean we'll see. I mean I can only assume we have to get whether it's called itself Odyssey 2 or what have you. But I can only imagine we're getting another game like that. So.
Yeah, it would be cool. Well, at least as much as I like four-player co-op, I think with these games because it's the Switch is very limited to two only, and have them like work off of each other. Where have you ever played a game called Battle Block Theater?
Mm-mm.
So in Battle Block Theater, you're basically playing through these platforming levels. But if you have people on there, you can actually help boost you up. Like, let's say you have one guy jump, and you can use that guy as a platform for that guy to jump on you to jump even higher, and then he can put his hand down to lift you up and all that stuff. I would love to
Mm,
see a Mario game in that style,
interesting.
where the players can actually interact with each other to boost you into different levels.
What I think would be cool is like hypothetically, let's go with your different character system, right? Mario, Luigi, Peach, Toad, Donkey Kong, whatever. You have all of them in there, and what I would think would be cool is you have it in which I still would like it to be multiplayer. And to your point, if it could be limited to two, that's better than one. But I think it'd be cool is like if you go like every character would have their own powers, right? Only their own things that they could accomplish in a level. But like you go in with Mario and you do certain things in that level that you open up for another character that you have to go back in and then have to use their special abilities to unlock something else, and just rinse and repeat. Like people might not enjoy it because the dare I say monotony of going in and out with different characters was kind of suck, but I think that still would be kind of fun that you'd have to because it gives it a little bit of replay value, right? And Mario has always been known and good to do things like that anyway.
Well,
So
I feel like they could do like your first playthrough, you're forced to play through the perspective of that character representing that level. But then after you
hmm
beat the game, it's a free roam where you can use that character in any level. Like Crash Bandicoot has done that with their games before. Like Crash 4, you originally start off as Crash Bandicoot, then certain levels you play as Coco, and after you
hmm
beat the game, you can play as Coco or Crash Bandicoot.
hmm Well, even the simplicity, even without character switches, like even Super Mario World for Super Nintendo did a good job with replaying levels when you would hit the. I think they were still considered a question mark, but they weren't blocks or buttons, right?
Hmm.
Because they had it like what was it like red, green, yellow, blue, or something. And once you got to a certain part of the world, you hit that button. You could go back to all the levels that had those blocks that weren't filled, but they had the color of the outline, so when you finally hit that button, they all filled in. So you go back to that level. Now you could go to different areas in that level that you couldn't access before. Um, so yeah, like Mario's always Nintendo's always did a good job with Mario games to do stuff like that. So
Do you have this
um,
game, Super Mario 3D World?
no, mm-mm.
I was gonna say if you have it, apparently this has online, and I don't know how this one works. It looks like there's Bowser Jr. and Mario, but it also looks like Luigi's in here, and I don't know if you could actually play two characters at once, or if one controls like the star to move around like the camera, and the other one does the
Mm-hmm.
platforming. Because I know one of these, you're basically just AI helper.
Interesting. Going back because I let you borrow Kirby. Did that one have multiplayer? I think it did, right? If you ate the person and that helper could be player two, right?
I never tried the multiplayer. I just played the single player aspect, but
Gotcha.
maybe I have to look
I
at the
think
back of
I
the game
think
again.
I think so. I think so. But with all that said, I believe I'm out of small stories. I don't know if you have anything else to add to the table, or if you want to segue into topic one.
I'm pretty much almost done with this. So, buying these games, I think I mentioned this last episode, the episode before. My kind of goal is to collect all first party Nintendo games.
Okay.
And I just realized I'm only missing two Mario games. I'm missing Mario Striker and Super Mario Superstar, All Star, whatever it's called. Whatever the
Oh,
second Mario Party is. Because
second Mario.
there's Super Mario Party and then there's Super Mario Party like
Oh, like
Superstars or All Stars.
yeah, yeah, like the anniversary edition, right? Yeah, that
Yeah.
one would be a good one.
Those are the only two I'm missing, and I seen that the Striker one was on sale, but I'm like the other one isn't, and it's not including that deal. So I was like, I'll wait for that one.
So you also have the 64 Sunshine game,
Yeah,
the 3-in-1.
the 3D
Okay.
also. I bought it
Yeah, yeah.
right when it came out.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, same here. I remember I got it pre-ordered, and I felt lucky at the time because a lot of people were very upset they couldn't get it. But Nintendo did the right thing. They just started mass producing it. So.
Well, they stopped it. I'm not sure if you noticed that they mass produced it for like 5 6 months after, but they
hmm
stopped it again. And I was lucky enough to buy three versions very cheaply
Three
because
versions?
three copies I should say.
Oh, okay. I was like, what the fuck did I miss on three versions?
Three copies because they're like dirt cheap. It was like $20 because they're doing like a mass clearance section.
Okay.
And recently they spiked up in price because originally I think the
Mm,
starting price was like $40 for the game, right?
hmm.
Now they're like $70, $80, and I sold all three copies for that price.
Mm.
So I know that sounds scummy, but
Which,
I'm like, it's clearance. I'm like, I'm gonna buy it. I know it's gonna flip higher
I mean,
later.
well, it still was a risk reward. I mean, there wasn't a guarantee, but you did your homework. You thought certain things would happen, and it paid off for you. I wouldn't say it's scummy. I think it's I don't know. It's not like you bought. Wait, did you buy all three when it first came out? No, you bought them
No,
afterwards, right?
I,
Yeah.
I
So
bought them
so no,
afterwards.
that's not coming. I think it's different if you
Like
you
hoarded
know
like
and
all
it,
these different pre-orders.
yeah, if you hoarded like 10 Tears of the Kingdom collector's editions and you start flipping nine of them.
No, no. So basically, what happened is the guy at GameStop called me because he knows I do certain things, and I made friends, and he was like, "Listen, these games are on clearance. They're just sitting here. You want to come pick them up?" And I'm like, "All right." I picked them up, and then because I also seen a Twitter post like a couple days earlier saying, they officially stopped with those games, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, this is the best time to get them because I know they're gonna skyrocket."
Which is very interesting because, um, I mean, not everybody's going to go out and buy a new Switch. I understand that, but that recent Mario's, even though there's nothing really truly special about it, but the Mario version Switch came out March 10th, and that one came with one digital download for Mario game, and that was one of them. So it wasn't a physical copy, but it was a digital copy of that particular game. So yeah, it's kind of interesting.
But yeah,
Um,
so going back to what I was saying about before with the first party collections is, now that I'm only missing two Mario games and I think I'm missing four Pokemon games. I'm missing the Pokemon Dungeon game, Pokemon Snap. I'm missing Pokemon Scarlet, and I'm missing Pokemon Arceus. And so that means I'll have Mario and Pokemon down. And I just gotta work on Zelda because so far I just have Hyrule Warrior, Age of Calamity, Breath of the Wild, and then Tears of the Kingdom. And I know they have like Skyward Sword, Link to the Past, and basically I think the whole collection of Zelda in one, right? Like the old OG three Zelda games.
no, I don't think they have that. Because if they did, I'd have it.
So I'm just working on the whole set, and I'm like,
Oh, the one thing they did release that I have is that Game and Watch
hmm,
original Zelda. Like I got one of those. I don't know if that's of any value,
it might
but
be.
that's kind of cool.
But I was looking, I'm like, I see some of the first party games, and I see that Pikmin is one of their first party games, and I've
Hmm.
never played a Pikmin game, and it doesn't really interest me. But I seen that
It,
Pikmin 3 and Pikmin something 4 Deluxe or whatever were on sale. I'm like, maybe I should have got those.
Pikmin is. I don't want to say it's like a fun game, but it's it is I think you have to be a special kind of gamer to enjoy it. Like it's not for
You
everybody.
gotta be special.
Like no. I mean, like it really isn't for everybody. Like I'm not trying to sell it either. Like I'm not gonna say I'm head over heels for it because I'm not. But like I kind of do want to get the new one because I only played the first one and maybe a little bit of the second one, and the first one was very difficult. Like it's and that's what I'm saying. Like for a Nintendo game, like they're kind of like they're puzzly, like but a difficult puzzly. Like I don't know. It's hard to explain. It's really hard to explain.
But speaking of which, as I've been collecting, I don't like these spines, these normal red
Why?
spines, because they're just too basic for me. Recently, I found out you can actually print custom spines that actually match the cover work. So I'm gonna print a whole bunch of spines for my game, so it looks nice, and it still has like the switch section to make it look uniform, but it'll actually have like the covering right here, so I can actually tell what I'm looking at besides reading words.
Ah, humbug.
I'm pretty sure a lot of people feel the same way I do, because when I looked at all these pictures, like on Etsy, Reddit, and all that stuff, lots of people are doing it because they realize how ugly it looks.
I don't give a
I don't
fuck.
care if you care. I'm just saying they're ugly, and I want my games to look good.
Whatevs, whatevs.
But we can move on to the first game. I just thought this is like a fun little goal. I've been flipping because of Zelda, and because of that, I've been getting back into it. I'm like, why not go for the collection here?
Before we go into the topic, because we didn't create a graphic for the Zelda, do you want to talk about that first, or do you want to do the topic first?
Because I screwed up because I thought you wanted to make this short today. We could do Zelda right now because I didn't put
Okay.
that as a topic.
Okay, cool. Let's do that then. So, no graphic for this topic, but we did talk about Zelda Tears of the Kingdom last week, based on the 10-minute. Was it last week or 2 episodes ago? I
I
forget
think
already.
it was like 2 weeks ago.
It was 2 weeks ago. Okay, based on the 10-minute plus gameplay footage, but now just yesterday, right? Yesterday, am I off here? I'm fucking losing track of days. They released the final official trailer, and wow.
All I can think about
I
is for some
I
reason. God,
I can't fucking wait. Like it's gonna be so magical.
all I see is like memes of like Homer saying, or like was it sexy Flanders, but it was just with Ganon.
So like okay, like oh man, I almost wish we could kind of like play it in the middle, kind of like even discuss it because it was only like 3 minutes. But like first and foremost, the start and he's like falling down and they finally play the original Zelda music. Couldn't help but get choked up, and because I think a lot of people were waiting for that. Um, Still, once again, like I know we always talk about like, oh, imagine if Zelda looked like Final Fantasy 16. Like, okay, yeah, well, that'd be great. But the game itself, like when he's falling from the sky and you can see everything, I mean, it still looks very beautiful. Um, so fucking huge. Um, the the part that made me laugh was when he was riding like the robot. He was,
Yes.
I was like, what is going
You're
on?
talking about the one in
Oh,
the air,
like,
right?
no, not the air, because he was riding. He was holding onto a rocket going into the air. No, it was only on the ground. He's literally on this big ass like rectangular stone thing with like one little arm with like a poker, and it's on wheels, and he's riding towards another. Um, it was one of those Talos rock structures, but it also had like a goblin on it, like as if they made like it was so bizarre looking, but so funny and so like once again just exemplifies the I guess the probably just unsurmountable amount of creativity you could have in this game. Um, so there's that. They finally started showing more characters, like the Guardians are going to be back. They kind of insinuated the name of Tears of the Kingdom and what it means now because Zelda was holding a tear. Makes me wonder if there's any relation to the Triforce at all, because the Triforce wasn't used in Breath of the Wild at all. There was also another chick character that people were confused as to who it is that kind of looks like Zelda, but I don't know if it's going to be like Hylia herself, even though it's supposed to be Zelda. Another mysterious figure or two. The over voice, no one really knows who that was. It didn't really sound like King Rome, but and then finally the reveal of Ganondorf. So he's back. Um, which I thought was an interesting choice because
You kind of kill him
you
in the first one.
no, because that was Calamity. We didn't have Ganondorf.
I thought Calamity Ganon was Ganon, or was that just like his
No.
essence?
No. Ganondorf is like the human form of Ganon.
Okay.
Um,
So what? Calamity was just a spirit?
Calamity is like they call it Calamity Ganon. So it was like it was a new take on Ganon. Um, but it wasn't Ganondorf. Ganondorf is the physical embodiment. So we got him back, which I thought was an interesting reveal in the trailer because it's like you think that's something you would want to save as a surprise for the actual game. So that kind of had me conflicted a little bit
Well,
because
they didn't show a lot of them. They showed little bits and pieces because, like, you see him with his now really nice shiny red hair next to like a red sun looking thing.
it looks like a Kuma.
Yeah, but like whoever stylized him made him look cool. Like the red sun background and his hair just flinging, and him just turning around looking all brolic. I'm like, all right, he's got me. I'm good with this character design.
So um, it just makes me wonder if he's like he's always been the true bad guy, right, or the epitome of bad guy, or at least when he usually transforms to Ganon, he's kind of like the ultimate fight. So it makes me wonder, is like, is he really going to be the ultimate fight? Will it be something Zonai related? Like, I don't know. Like, it now just like makes me wonder so many other things, because they even showed like a Zonai fighting a Choo Choo. I don't know if you caught that, like in part of the opening parts, like on one of Sky Islands, like they're actually fighting each other, which is very interesting. So it's like Zonai are hostile towards Link, I guess, right? But they're also hostile to regular enemies, which is pretty cool. So, oh man, there's so much to go over. I mean,
The
when you
one
was
thing I
fan,
I want to talk about is why the heck is King Ghidorah in this game? Because in the trailer, there I don't know if it was Link or some of those what are those red creature looking things.
mhm.
They're running and then a three-headed dragon comes at them.
Oh yeah, that was like pretty much right at the end. Well, that's a nod to the original Zelda. They had that. That was like the first boss of the first labyrinth. Although of course now he looks fucking 1,000 times cooler
I
and
look at him like,
badass
yo,
and
wouldn't they add
scary.
King Ghidorah in this game?
Yeah, no, yeah, because well, he was in the last trailer they showed him.
Oh, did they? I
Yeah,
didn't see
well,
that.
not like that though. They showed him at this. I think it was like at the starter trailer. They showed like one of the bridges, and it was like thundering and raining. Well, he was on the bridge, and that's where people first noticed him, and they're like oh shit, like that's a nod to the first boss from the first Zelda game. Um, so yeah, that guy looked bad as hell. There was a lot of things that looked bad. It's like they also kind of like, there seems to be a very strong connection to Skyward Sword here. So like I know you're gonna replay Breath of the Wild and Age of Calamity, but now it fucking makes me want to replay Skyward Sword.
So I have a question for the. Maybe we can go over this because apparently they actually have a canonical book. I messed up that
I
word,
think Canalico probably sounds accurate.
but they actually have a book. Apparently, Skyward Sword is actually the very
Very
first
first.
entry
Yep.
to
Yes.
all the timelines.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep.
But so is that the sword that's in the ground? Because I'm like, that sword's been in the ground the first game we took it out. Why is it back in the ground this game?
That's a very good question. And on top of that, the sword is deteriorated, which I think
Oh, is
people
it
are kind
deteriorated?
of.
I thought it looked like it was refurbished because the first one, from what I remember, because there's a glitch to get it before you beat the game, it had
Uh,
vines and all that stuff on it. This one looked like there was no
correct.
vines, no nothing. It was just
No,
pristine.
no. In this game, it's really just the hilt, a little bit of metal, and then it's like almost eroded to a point where it's like there's nothing.
I only seen the top part, so maybe I have to go back and check that out. Because I was like, did they fix the sword? Like, why is it looking that
No.
good?
The sword is the most jacked up it's ever been in any franchise or any Zelda game. So I
Interesting.
think people are speculating maybe the Calamity got to it on it, and it. But they're like, but then like, because I've been reading a little bit of people going obviously very fucking crazy about this. But they're like, well, it probably couldn't be the Calamity because usually you use the Master Sword to defeat Ganon and Calamity, so it has to be a stronger power um, that did that to the Master Sword.
But then
So
also, did they say anything why the Master Sword is back in the
no,
ground?
no. Well, it sounds stupid, but it's kind of been a reoccurring theme in a lot of Zelda games. But usually after you beat the game, they go to return the sword. So, like, I think it happens in A Link to the Past too, if memory serves me correct. Uh, and it happens in Ocarina because he returns the sword to go back to his youth.
Hmm.
Because when he takes the sword is when he time skips to become, I don't know if you want to say an adult or teenager, young adult. So at the end of the game, he puts it back to go back to being young Link.
Hmm.
So that really has been a reoccurring theme. But as to why it looks like that now is anybody's guess. Um, got one person chat saying Ocarina is the best Zelda. It's up there, but man, Breath of the Wild, this one, fuck man, this one. Mm.
What?
I hate to
So
put on a pedestal so soon, but fuck man,
So
fucking
this
so
is a great
good.
question. I'd love to do like a poll with on social media because like a lot of people seem to say Ocarina of Time or Majora's Mask, whatever. Breath of the Wild is probably a third or whatever. I really like what's that Wii game? Twilight Princess, Spirit
Twilight
Train.
Princess,
That one
Twilight
was
Princess.
really good. I like that one.
Oh yeah, dude. That's the beauty about Zelda games. Like even the Game Boy ones, they're all
Uh,
good. They're all
I
good.
If I was to compare the Game Boy ones, which I think the one I was talking about, the 4-player one, I don't think that's considered like an actual canon Zelda game, but that would be my favorite just because of the co-op aspect.
It's I don't want to call it canon, but they kind of put it like because I think like uh Four Swords, I think it's kind of like on the level of A Link to the Past, like whatever whatever timeline point like that game is, they kind of plug in some other ones like right next to it type thing.
Is that
Um,
the same with Triforce Heroes?
maybe,
Okay.
maybe. I know you linked me or tried to link me a timeline thing, and I don't know if it was the official Nintendo one, but you know Nintendo released the official one like a while ago. Like I think they my friend might have it. I think they might even release like an encyclopedia.
Yeah, they've actually
Um,
released a hardcover book about it. It's
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know what it's called, but I know it's black. It's got a black cover, and I believe they sell it. I don't know if they still sell it, but on the
yeah,
official Nintendo site, I was like, I need to
yeah,
buy that.
yeah. I think I need to as well. But it's so funny how like they never did it. And dare I use the word recent because it's been out for a little bit now. I think I'm trying to remember when they finally released it. It might have been before Breath of the Wild, but they finally like put it together, so to speak.
well,
And
they did put it together, and I was wrong. We've been saying that there's been 3 timelines, but there's actually 4 timelines.
I know you said that. I haven't looked at it yet.
One of them, Link is dead.
Uh,
I can't remember which timeline that is, but there's one. I think it was it Majora's Mask? No, it might have been one of the other ones, but one of the
I don't
timelines it's called a fallen hero, and that's when Link actually dies.
I don't remember that. Like I do know like I said, I know there's a timeline where because of Ocarina of Time, there's a split.
Hmm.
There's one where, you know, he succeeds and there's one where he fails. I don't remember him dying. But I'll have to look. We could table that for another discussion. But
Yeah.
sticking with Tears of the Kingdom, like God, I can't wait.
Well,
I cannot wait.
speaking of another thing I seen, maybe it was just a cutscene. I don't know, but
Hmm.
it makes me kind of hopeful because, like, don't get me wrong, I like Link. He's a great character, but I would love to see like other characters being played, like maybe more Zelda. And
Hmm.
in this game, I think it's Zelda. She's in like some kind of like sandy tomb area where there's like cogwheels spinning. It almost looks like a
Hmm.
dungeon, and
Hmm.
she's in the main center. And I'm like,
Hmm.
what happens if there's like certain dungeons or certain events where you actually play as Zelda and get her perspective on certain things?
Unfortunately, I'm not. I think it's overdue, and it probably. I don't want to say needs to happen, but can or should. However, I'm gonna poo-poo that and say it's not gonna happen at all, mainly because of the very last line she says in the trailer. She says, "Link, you need to find me." So,
Well,
like,
that could be the perfect thing. Like it's like a Prince of Persia. Her trying to break herself out, and then that's when she's on her journey back. That's where Link also meets up with her in the middle, and they get out together. Because that's what I was looking with like the dungeon time thing. Because like it looks like
yeah.
she was stuck, and I'm like maybe well, most likely they won't do because they always focus on the main character.
Hmm.
Um, but it'd just be cool to get her perspective because Zelda to me is one of those characters, kind of like Peach, where she's not helpless. She's a fighter, and you've clearly seen that with Breath of the Wild and some other games where she uses the arch, the ultimate bow, whatever, helps you with
Hmm.
the horse and all that.
Light arrow, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, I think people really kind of do want it as well, but I just unfortunately I don't see it happening yet. I think. Wait, do you even get the user in Age of Calamity? I'm trying to remember now if you do. I think you do. Yeah, you do. So that's probably the most you're gonna get out of playing as Zelda.
Because Zelda to me is like, usually out of all, like, I don't know if you want to call them princesses, damsels, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
she's the one that annoys me the least because she actually is useful to Link. She's not just using them and all that stuff. She's actually up front in the battles most of the time with Link trying to get this thing solved for Hyrule.
Yep. Except in the Link to the Past, because she's like Sleeping Beauty the whole game.
Yeah, but most of the time, like, she's always usually front and center trying to get things done too, not just leave it up to Link.
Yeah, I mean she had. Now this is gonna kind of shit on Peach a little bit, but she has a very important role in everything in every game,
Yeah.
like extremely important. Like you're not going to succeed without her type of role, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm with you on that. Um, but um, But yeah, man, I can't wait. Um I don't know if it's been said at all as to if Nintendo has given an estimated time of completion on this game. I kind of almost don't want to know.
I feel like so. This is the thing that trips me out about the trailer and the gameplay is that I
Hmm.
don't know if this is played on PC because for their tech demos they can actually play their games on PC. That's usually how they format it.
Okay.
And the game runs in 60 frames per second, which looks beautiful.
Hmm.
But is it going to run the same way on Switch?
Hmm. Of course not.
So, but at the same time, looking at how massive it is with this final trailer, seeing all these different settings and all that stuff, like from the desert
Hmm.
to the forest to the sky,
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
have a feeling it's gonna be a quarter longer, or maybe half longer than what Breath of the Wild was. Like add Breath of the Wild time plus like another half or a quarter to that, which what I think
Yeah,
was like 200 hours if you do it complete.
I didn't 100% Breath of the Wild. Um, and by 100% I mean I didn't collect all the Korok things.
Oh, they
Like I
call it
did
Korok? I
all
thought they were the rupees.
no Korok.
That's a seed, right?
Yep. Hmm.
Okay.
That's the only thing I didn't do. I did like all the shrines. Like I did make it a point to do all those, but I didn't do the Korok seed. So, um, like I said, if Nintendo had a trophy system, I'd be all over that shit. But they don't, so I'm not doing that. And I don't remember what the reward was either. Like I think it has something to do with like maybe the Massive Sword is no, the Master Sword's unbreakable, I think, anyway. I don't remember what the reward was, but
It was
it didn't seem
very,
to.
yeah, it wasn't
Yeah, it
very
wasn't
good.
rewarding. Exactly. But I would have to. Man, I'm gonna pop in my game very soon here. I might even do that tonight instead of Resident Evil. Now that we're talking about it, so hyped. Um, I don't remember how many hours I put in, but I know it tracks it in the menu, so I'll have to look. And it's funny because that's one of the rare Zelda games that actually does give you a percentage, right? Like,
Mm.
and the other thing too, this is what I dislike about Zelda. I mean, not Zelda in general, but just this Zelda because I think this is the first one they did it for. Um, they had the New Game Plus option. I don't need that. Not for
Which is
this, at
which
least.
is weird because I mean, maybe it's a recent trend, but New Game Plus usually adds a little bit more. New Game
Hmm.
Plus is nowadays just you're playing the new game, you're just replaying the game again, no added addition.
Yeah, what Zelda has done in the past, and they usually do it with like a promotional release, is they'll do what's called is the Master Quest. So you'll replay it from the beginning, but it'll be a harder version of the game. Um, so I don't remember if they did that for Breath of the Wild. Um, I have to look, but yeah. Oh god, I wish I could watch the well, I could watch the trailer whenever I want. But if we had it right next to us, I could talk about it more because I'm kind of brain farting. But um,
Maybe we can revisit this next week because we'll have all our timelines in order. We can discuss the timelines. We can
yeah, we could.
discuss the gameplay, what we'd like to see, what we might
But
see.
the countdown is here. It's I think it was 28 days, right? I know I see it every day on Twitter. There's like particular person that's counting it down and everything, and I have to
Dude,
put in some days, some
this
annual leave, and
this year has been. I want to say 2022 was a year for entertainment, but dude, this year like it's insane. Like we have Zelda, which looks good. It's been blown my expectations recently with everything I've seen. Crash Team Rumble, which is another game I'm looking forward to. And then the topic we're going to transition here very shortly is Final Fantasy 16. And I'm gonna be honest, I crapped on this game because like I knew it was gonna be good because Final Fantasy, it's always good. But seeing what it looks like, do you want to transition to the topic right now?
yeah, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's do it.
All right, so Final Fantasy 16, the state of play just happened yesterday or the day before, and when I seen this gameplay, it doesn't look like Final Fantasy to me. It looks like Elden Ring meets, Devil May Cry or one of those games because it looks beautiful. It's massive. Like to me, it looks almost too massive where you're just fully exploring. The rendering distance is amazing. I don't know if that's done by PC or if that's actual PS5 footage. Um, but that's insane. The combat is very smooth. I love how you can, because with normal Final Fantasy games, usually there's a lot of time where you like fight and then you have to use a menu to switch back and forth. This one almost seems like seamless switching in combat, where you can go from magic to slashing combat and chain combo that with other stuff. And then also, uh, was it the style of the game looks like, when I say it doesn't look like Final Fantasy, it like the style has changed completely. It doesn't have like that Japanese anime look. It looks like an actual Western game like Elden Ring.
So I think the state of play was like, what was it, like 25 plus minutes or something, 26 minutes.
Hmm.
Um, first and foremost, before any of this footage ever came out, when I remember just reading about it, my initial thoughts were like, damn, this sounds like Game of Thrones meets Final Fantasy. And I'm like, if it is anything like that, like I can't fucking wait. Like, yes, please. Um, and now that we have so much footage, it really does have that feel, that theme, with like the different like you want to say different houses, you know, the different the icons, you know, are for different, like, you know, houses, I guess, or different fucking brain farting, um, different castles or whatever. But to your point with the action or the gameplay, it really is all action based. Like there is no turn based in this at all, and it is the first Final Fantasy game to function in this capacity. Right now, there actually is an outcry for that.
Wait,
There's
really?
yes, there is. There is a lot of. I don't think it's going to deter sales. Let me be clear. It's not going to deter any sales. But there's a lot of fanboys and fangirls that are upset that they're taking this approach, and that it's going to kill the franchise. It's not going to kill the franchise.
To
Let's
me, I
stop.
think it hyped it
Let's
up
stop.
more than anything.
Let's stop there. I'm not against it. But I don't. I'm not gonna shit on it like these people are. I'm for it, but I still also prefer like the traditional part of it because that's what's made Final Fantasy. That's what it was built upon. But they want to experiment. They can. That's fine. I'm still gonna enjoy the shit out of it. It's not gonna deter anything for me. Um, but I think I do. Well, let's see when I get my hands on it. I don't want to jump too quick to conclusions here, but 7 worked fantastic. This is taken that any reminiscent of turn-based out of it. To your point, right? It's my fear with this is if it's like 15 and if it's too like hack and slashy. That's my fear. I don't think it will be though. I really don't think so. Watching how that state of play worked, but that's my concern.
I don't think
Like
it's gonna be like that at all.
I hope not. But I also think it depends how you play it. And what I mean by that, and I'm sure you watched every minute of that, right?
Yes, I
State
did.
of play. Okay. So they mentioned like you could at the very start of your play, you could kind of toggle into 2 different forms, right? The action type
You have
play
like
where
4 or 5
like you're
different skill trees, and you could either be like a melee magic. You can choose what gameplay style you want depending on what skill tree you slot into, and you can
no,
even mix and match too.
not skill. I'm not talking about skill trees. They're talking about before you even start the gameplay. There's an option that you could toggle or switch on
Oh, between
where
story and combat.
yes, there we go. The story mode, or not story mode, but the story play versus action play or something like that.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Um, because like if you are more versed in action games, then they're like, you know, choose that. But if you just want to, you know, not worry about pairing and not worried about evading and not worrying about this and that, to choose the story mode or story play. I'm sorry, because there's like accessories that you could equip that'll do those things for you when you're in the game. Um, so with that said, I don't know which one I'm gonna select.
I could already tell you
Because
which one I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go
yeah, you're gonna
action.
do. Yeah, I know you are. But and that's the thing, right? It's like I really want to like, you know, you're gonna enjoy. You're gonna get the story no matter what.
Yeah.
But it's like, you know, so nonetheless, I just want to get that out. Um, to your point, it does look fucking beautiful. It looks amazing, and it has me conflicted on what game of the year is going to be.
So I could already tell you now. As much as Breath of the Wild looks fantastic, I think it's between Final Fantasy 16 and Hogwarts Legacy. Like
I don't think
I'm telling you right now. When I seen Final Fantasy 16 gameplay, I was as impressed as when I was watching Hogwarts Legacy. and that doesn't happen often. Because when I seen the combat change to being just seamless, like because
Hmm.
like I know you're more of a Final Fantasy, purist than I am, and it's kind of funny that we're on opposite ends of the spectrum because usually I argue for tradition. This one, I'm like, this is a great change for me, and obviously, like you said, there's people that are outcrying for the opposite. But to
Uh-huh.
me, this looks like it knocks Breath of the Wild out of contention for Game of the Year.
I wouldn't go that far yet. I wouldn't. I just I wouldn't do that.
Well, if you look
Because
at the
I mean,
trends, like Elden
cause
Ring
like
won last year.
cause like looking like I'm not trying to take it away, and I want to go backwards and talk about Zelda. We gave it its time, and we'll talk more about it. So I really want to talk about Final Fantasy 16. Like going back to the state of play, like yeah, like I said, the game looks amazing. Really fucking amazing. Um, but like where I think it dare I say loses flair is where you go through all the different areas through the map. And I understand why they have to take that approach because to have as beautiful as that world looks like when you go through every zone, so to speak, to make that an open world, full fledged, it would be. I don't even know if that's achievable unless it was like a PC game. I don't know. Like, I don't know if that exists. Like, I mean,
Well,
I don't. We truly
they
don't know how big it actually is for what they showed. It does look pretty big, but we really don't know,
so
right?
I can tell you this: it does exist because they use a simple trick called preloading. It's kind of like how zone rendering and RCS works, where you load into it, but because
Mm-hmm.
the SSD is so much faster, when you go into certain zones, the back one that you just went starts what's it called kind of like unloading itself, while the other one starts loading itself in front of you. So you can see all the zones in front of you from that camera point, but everything else is actually kind of gone. So that's what gives you that massive open world experience and makes it seem seamless compared to just loading in from fast travel. That's why they're able to achieve that look because they have the SSD to back them up with that just quick loading to make it look that massive open world.
Mm-hmm. Um, but anyway, they took that approach. So
And
like
love
I
it.
feel like, huh?
And I love it.
Oh, that's fine. I mean, I feel like it's a little bit of a ding in the scoring grade.
I think once you play it, you're gonna realize that obviously they're gonna make you go through exploration the first time. But if you actually watch the state of play, it tells you that the map updates with you as you go along. So there'll be more fast travel points that keep dinging up. So after
Correct.
you explore and see all of its beauty, and instead of going back by horse or chocobo, whatever, you can just fast travel. And I think that's
Yeah,
where people are gonna realize that it's not gonna be an issue.
yeah. I hope so. I hope so. I just don't think it was 100% communicated that way.
I think they pretty
Um,
much explained that it updates.
I we'll see. We'll see. Because I'm not sold on it. Just like 15 didn't do that.
Well, 15 was
Um,
an older game. I think they learned from their mistakes.
Hope so. Hope so. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. But with that said, the other ding I would give on it, and I don't know why I'm going so negative with my discussion here, but I don't think not the voice acting, but the lip movement of the voice acting didn't really care for it. But we'll see how that plays out as it goes. Other than that, I don't think I really got anything negative to say. The icon battles looked fucking ridiculous and amazing. And I liked the fact that they said that they're not all like I guess linear, like they're not the same. Like I guess if I don't know what reason you would have to go back and play it, but that they can be different. Um, I'm also trying to figure out like what because they kind of make it seem like Clive is the original owner of Ifrit, but then you fight as Phoenix and fight as
Well, they
so
showed that
so
to you
so
already. Phoenix isn't you. It's the
it's Joshua.
prince. Yeah, and Clive is Ifrit, but he is almost like possessed like a demon. Like you can see when he's attacking, Ifrit's forms start coming out through like the aspect form, and then when he fully goes Ifrit, that's when he turns into that big monster beast.
But like going back to the skill trees, right? Because you mentioned that earlier. The skill trees they've shown you could like learn other elements from other icons. So like I don't know, like it just makes me wonder. It's like, okay, what is this like due to Jack of all trades, and he could like fucking turn into different icons too? Like that's what I'm trying to figure out.
Well, I think it's honestly the way that it looks like they're using these summons or whatever you call them. It
Hmm.
basically looks like spirits because, like, if you look on Clive's face, he has a mark on his cheek, and he
Yeah,
doesn't have that in the beginning of the game, but he adapts it when you see him start changing. And I think it's possession. That's what's happening to him. He's getting
maybe.
possessed by these
Which would,
spirits.
well, I wouldn't say possessed, but he's probably um absorbing
I would.
them or
The
something.
reason why I say possession is because when you look at the prince, I forgot what his name is, but you could tell when he gets angry and scared, he gets possessed by the phoenix, and that's when he turns into that beast unintentionally. And it looks like when Clive gets angry, he fully turns into Ifrit.
I think it's more controlled than that. But to your point with Joshua, I think the reason why it was shown that way is because he was a child, right? So therefore, yes, it did take over. Versus, um, they never show Joshua older, right? They only show him as a kid, and I don't know if that's also when Clive is in his adolescent years, or if it's in his teen years, or because they said you're going to experience him in his teens, 20s, and
20s and 30s,
30s.
yeah.
So the Joshua bit, I don't know if that's when Clive is in his teens or 20s. I don't think it's when he's in his 30s. But
Well,
but
if you look at the beginning, when is that what the prince's name is, Joshua?
yeah,
So
the
when
blonde haired kid, right?
yeah,
The
yeah,
Phoenix. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Joshua, I
So
think it is.
when you see that scene, you could clearly tell it's in his teen years because Clive looks like he's one of those boy band people now because he
Correct.
doesn't have that
That's what I
thing.
was. Yeah,
But because Joshua is, possessed by the Phoenix, I have a feeling he's going to age differently than Russ because the Phoenix is immortal. It doesn't really
true.
age. It just
The
constantly
rebirth.
regen. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I have a feeling because it's that possession, he may look the same, maybe a little older, but I feel like he's going to have retain that young look. While Clive is just going to keep looking older and older because he's just battle, tired.
yeah, yeah. Um. So that those things looked amazing, and I can only can't wait to experience them on my TV.
Yeah.
um. And like I said, the skill tree. I'm always a fan of skill trees. I love that when they had it for I think it was 10 had very large skill trees. So give me that. Um, man, what else did I say? I think the story hopefully is really good. I know they gave off a little bit, but
Oh, you could tell it's going to be good because from what I've seen, it's not just one kingdom that came after Joshua's kingdom. It was like a combination of armies coming together. That's why you see Clive going through these different nations, taking them over
right.
because what they did. But one thing what I thought was really good, is when they showed these massive summoner battles. Is that it seemed like it was actual full on environment, like you're flying and fighting through these open fields, and it's not like pre rendered like a linear path. You're basically
Hmm.
just tracking
Hmm.
and fighting in this giant monster format.
Um, well, I think some of it is linear, to be honest, because that's why like going back to the Phoenix Muhammad fight. It turned into a side scroller, right?
Hmm.
And they kind of mentioned that, like, and that's why they were saying not every fight is the same because the
Scaling would be
I guess,
difficult.
well, not that, but I guess the perception, maybe skating probably was an issue, to be honest, but like, but no, they were saying like the experience will be different based because even the perception, the play style will, and that's why like you saw the one that was a side scroller, you saw one where it was like almost, dare I say, Sonic-y, where it was like kind of like pushing through
Which one is
like
the one where there was a guy chasing the Phoenix and he was like shooting fireballs at him? Because
mm,
it looked like a fast paced like Star Fox thing where it was just like a basically they're both running.
yeah,
The creature was just nonstop throwing fireballs like he was like some kind of like you know shooter.
yeah, fuck, I don't vividly recall that part, but I just do remember like kind of like locking down and doing damage. Big numbers pop up. I think I saw one that was like 2 million, or was it 2 billion or something? I was like, what the fuck? Like at that point, it gets a little too much. But I guess people like big numbers. Um, yeah, I mean, I think another dare I say downfall, here I go talking negative again, is you only play as Clive. That's it. Like there are other people that accompany you, but they're all AI controlled. Um, I that's a first, I think, as well for Final Fantasies.
I'm okay with that.
I'm trying to really think now. I mean, like Dirge of Cerberus, I guess when you play as Vincent all the way through, that'd be the other, but that's not like a true Final Fantasy like installment. So yeah, I think that's also a first.
So
So
maybe you can answer this question.
yes.
Why do you think they changed the art style? Because I'm a fan that they changed it. Because don't get me
So
wrong, I like the Japanese look, but this more rugged, like Western look fits this game perfectly.
so it's funny you say that because in actuality, some of the original Final Fantasies are in this manner, except you just wouldn't know because they're
Pixel.
8-bit, 16-bit. Yeah, they're pixelated.
Yeah.
This is actually OG Final Fantasy look. What you're seeing.
And it's weird when you look at it because there's two characters that kind of look like the Japanese look, like Clive when he's in his early teens. He kind of has that look, and then also, it's like a blonde girl. I don't remember her name, but she kind of has like that
Mm-hmm.
Tifa look
Mm-hmm.
to her. But then everybody else looks like classic Western, knight thing, medieval thing.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I like that. I like that they actually changed the style just for that because before when you played like 15, 14, 8, whatever, they all had that Japanese look to them.
Yeah, yeah. 15 definitely was that was the epitome of boy band look. But 15 was unique a little bit too because they tried to like do a little bit of a modernized look, especially with the car and everything, which I did like and I did enjoy. But um but yeah, Final Fantasy started looking really fantasy. Um I mean 7, I don't know where you put 7 in that. 7 wasn't like extremely fantasy looking. In my opinion. 8
Well,
I didn't play.
7 looked
9
like a
I think
Japanese
really
game.
did start.
Like, look at Cloud, look at Aerith, look at Tifa, look at Sephiroth. They look like the classic Japanese characters. Boy
Okay,
band Japanese characters.
well, I wouldn't say no. I wouldn't
Look
say
at the
boy band.
Cloud. Come on now. Cloud,
Uh,
what's his name? The
If
captain.
if you're calling them boy band, then they were boy band before boy band
They were
existed
the
because
original Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, all
exactly they
that.
were the originals. So how dare you admonish them? um, no, but yeah, this actually is homage to original Final Fantasies. To be honest,
Speaking of which, we're still going to talk about 16 because there's still a lot more I
yes.
want to talk about.
Mhm.
But are you getting the Pixel Collection for
I want
Final
I
Fantasy
want
1 through, was it
I
6?
wanted, yeah, I wanted to get the collectors and I didn't get it, so I don't know.
So I was gonna pull the trigger, but I seen that it was only for PS4 and Switch, and I was like, why isn't PS5 on there? Like, obviously you can
Uh,
still play the PS4 game on PS5, but you're
Correct.
not gonna get that enhanced performance.
I mean, they're pixel games.
Yeah, but there's a difference
What do
between
you what?
having a PS4 cover and a PS5 cover. I'm just gonna be honest.
Uh,
It's a very minor difference, but it's that difference I care about.
I know what you're saying a little bit. I know what you're saying. Uh, because Among Us has a PS5 version.
Yeah,
Um, but I mean, ultimately, it's like, yeah, whatever. But
whatever to you.
but to answer your question, I wanted to. I missed out on the collector's edition. I don't know if they're gonna do any restocking of it. So since I missed out on it, I don't think I'm gonna get the collection. However, comma, I really do want to replay 6 because that's for those pixel type games. I'll say that's my favorite.
So I
6
just
is so good.
I think it's lame. I know we talked about this before, how Square Enix wants to just dominate their own market with their site. I think it
Hmm.
sucks that you can only buy the collection, the Pixel collection, physical
Hmm.
from this site. I wish they partnered up with like Best Buy, Target, GameStop, whatever, because I don't want to
I
pay for the
like
site.
I like it because I think it hinders the bots
I think it
and the
promotes that
resellers. No, I don't think
because
so.
bots usually go to online sales. That's what they do. When you go have physical stuff, the employees there to limit you.
But I feel like the bots are more prone to be made for those big outlets, like you said, the Best Buys of
No,
the
well,
worlds, the
no. What
Amazons.
I'm saying is when you go in store, there's a difference between in store and online. Like have them ship the Pix collection in store, where you have to pre-order in store and pick it up.
No game does it that way anymore.
There's still a couple games that still do it, but I'm saying that they need to go back to that because that'd be awesome. But you know, it is what it is. They didn't do it, but I think it was kind of like a missed opportunity because I that's also another reason why it deterred me from getting it because I didn't want to buy from the site.
Oh, so buying from the site doesn't deter me at all. I've buying everything from their site. I just missed out on that one. Um, I wasn't. It wasn't on my radar though, to be honest with you. Like I dare I even say I was on the fence. Like I was just like and then I saw it and I was like, ah, that looks pretty badass. Let me see if I could get it. Sold out. Okay, whatever. But but you could still buy. I mean, you could still buy them individually, as well. Like
I want to buy the whole
through.
collection. I want to buy the
Well,
individual
I mean, you can
$15
only
one.
buy the collection as a whole, but I mean, individually, you can only buy them, I believe, digitally.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, so yeah, that answers your question.
But going back to
Going back,
16, I want to say
yeah,
this. I
yeah.
love how we're on opposite sides of the fence here because usually for games, I'm a traditionalist, and you
Hmm.
are now the opposite, where you're defending certain things that you would love to see,
Hmm.
and I'm all
Hmm.
for the progression. And I love how the tables
Well,
have turned because before you're like, oh, you should just be more, open, and
well,
now you're the opposite.
hold on, calling it progression is an opinion. I'm not saying it's not progression. I'm just saying like that. That's an opinion. Once again, I'm not like shitting on it. Like I'm saying is this is a new venture for Final Fantasy, right? Um, I've only known and dare I use the word preferred
Because you're
the
so used to it.
traditions exactly because I'm so
But
used to it. So that's what I'm saying. Like I'm not boycotting the game because this is the direction they're going for gameplay. I don't think anybody is going to do that. But there is an outcry right now that people are
I,
this isn't the way it's supposed to go. They're gonna ruin the franchise. Blah blah blah. And I'm like, calm down, nerds.
well, it's funny because that's what I say when I do that argument, and you're the opposite. I just gotta give you shit right now because
You
this.
can continue giving me shit. Like it's fine. Like I'm still gonna stick to my guns and say that without me having my hands on this and experience it, that I feel like the seven remake was fantastic and was like the perfect siphon or whatever combination of both styles. Um, we'll see how this one goes. I'm not. I'm like I said, I'm not boycotting it. I got my collector's edition. I'm happy. I can't wait. Like it looks good. It
So
looks good. My concern with this is if it ends up too hack and slashy. That's really it. That's my only concern because seven didn't even feel like that.
well, that's because they try to go the
Seven
traditional
had a
route.
little bit more strategy because you had to cycle through characters. See, that's the other concern. You only have Clive, and
Well, this is why I'm saying it's gonna act exactly like Elden Ring because if you see that seamless combination between like
mhm,
frost magic, fire magic,
mhm,
slashing, like it
mhm,
looks like they got the combat system nailed for that seamless
mhm,
combination. Like you
mhm,
could see where he can go from a lock on from ice, icicle, ice beams, whatever you want to call them, then to
mhm.
using Ifrit's arm as spectral form. Like it
Mhm.
looks like they just nailed it.
I hope so. I mean, like I said, it looks fucking fantastic. Until I actually play it, this is when the final verdict happened. No, I was playing.
But I just think it's funny because like when I heard about this, I was like, oh, that sounds cool. It's interesting. But
Hmm.
then when I seen the gameplay, like I said, I haven't been impressed in a game in a long time except for Hogwarts Legacy. And the fact
Hmm.
I'm getting that same level of excitement is very rare from two games in a row.
Hmm.
And it almost makes me want to pre-order the game, even though I said I was gonna wait for it to be on sale, just because of
Hmm.
how grand it looks, how open,
Yeah, it
large
does.
open world, the combat being as smooth as it is, and also I'm gonna be honest with you, as much as I love anime and all that stuff, it's nice to not see the anime look in this game. I love to see that Western look.
Yeah. No, it is great. And like I said, this is realistically what Final Fantasies were built on. Like you have, to your point, that westernization look, but there's still a very dare I say very heavy influence of fantasy, but it's kind of like the backdrop, right? Um, um, but yeah, like it makes me wonder. I think it's maybe safe to say that we're not gonna get that Final Fantasy 15 DLC fucking type pushes, thankfully, but who knows? Please, Square Enix, don't do that. If you do DLC, like if you keep it like here and now, I'm kind of going a little bit against my talking about Clive here, and how it's only Clive. But if you're gonna do a DLC, expand on whatever universe you have, like within, this game. Like, don't try to fucking piece together shit that I should have gotten before the game even came out or whatever, or with the game. With all that said, we didn't get any more blood than we did when Joshua was part. But then that might not have been blood. That might have been him transforming. I don't know.
I think they're trying to keep all that good stuff, for the game.
Hopefully. I know they also in one of the early trailers kind of hinted at you're not going to see actual fucking, but like sex scenes or something of that magnitude. So that would be interesting.
I want to see full on chocobo action.
Yeah, so we saw chocobos, we saw Moogles.
Speaking of Moogles, I want to say they look so weird in that whole world, and the Moogles just looking the exact same they've always have.
But that's Final Fantasy,
and they're just floating in like the most random spots in the open world too, which is hilarious.
Moogle. That's Final Fantasy.
Well, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I just think it was like funny, he's going through, and then you see like a mountain and a Moogle sitting there right on the side.
Yeah. He's like, what up?
What up? You got some wares for me? I got some things to sell.
You got coin?
I got what you need for that coin.
Got what you need. But yeah, it looks like I know we brought this up in a previous podcast where I think, unlike Zelda, they came and they said the amount of playtime it would possibly take just to get through the story, and they had it about like whatever it was, like I want to say it was like, did I say 30 hours?
That's not too bad.
Yeah, and I think that's what you said. And I'm like, doesn't seem enough.
Well, and you gotta remember, but Hogwarts Legacy was like that, going through the story, and then after the story, you get this massive open world of side quests and everything.
And I understand that. That's what I'm saying. That's just main story. Looking at the map, it looks like there's going to be a lot of like going back and forth, side quests, and I'm all for that kind of stuff. I love that shit. So with that said, I think I'm going to get a lot of gameplay and replay value out of it. Trying to think of all the other high marks I want to give right now based on it, but I just can't bold and underscore enough how fucking beautiful it looks. Like, oh my god. So it's just like like, oh god, like mouth drops and everything. Like, god damn, that looks fucking awesome.
Well, it's kind of funny too, because like I know we were talking about like traditional style, like you see the chocobo looking cartoonish, like basically a big giant chicken bird. It looks, in my opinion, I know people like the old look, but it looks better in this game, in my opinion. Just because I love how the feathers actually seem like they flop around. They don't seem like that hard 2D feather where it's like that seems stuffy. It like almost looks like well, I guess fur in a way too. And I love just the movement of their legs and the head flopping back and forth, making more look natural like a horse.
Yeah, so we didn't really get a lot of I don't know if I say game time with them in 7 remake, but that's what they kind of looked like to me from 7. I mean, you didn't get to experience the chocobos like you did, and as the way it looks, you don't get to experience it in this game like you did in 7. But that's what they kind of looked like to me. They kind of look pretty identical, which is how this is how I think they should look. I mean, yeah. So I think they did do them justice. I know you also didn't play the First Soldier on the mobile game, which is now gone. But I mean, the graphics didn't look this beautiful, but the chocobos in that game kind of resemble this too a little bit to me. So yeah, they did a damn good job with them.
So I do want to go back. I'm sure if you want to add any more to that.
The chocobos, no, we're good with chocobos.
So
hopefully you could breed them.
That'd be cool to have like different color chocobos.
No, I mean I don't say that as a joke. I mean, almost in every Final Fantasy you could breed them.
Yeah, and they come in different colors, and supposedly there's going to be different kind of mounts too. So
and usually the color associates with what they could do, i.e., go over water, and go over mountains and stuff like that.
So going from a gameplay perspective, because one thing I noticed, as I mentioned, when you're walking around through the mountains and also if you see the Moogle there,
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if they're going to act as also, besides just the shop, the merchant, whatever. I wonder if those are actually the symbols of fast travel points, because when you run past them and you see shortly after they open the map, that's when a new icon popped up in that area.
It's a good observation, and that wouldn't surprise me. That'd be a good use of a Moogle.
And then also another thing too, because I know you're talking about what you don't want to see and what you do want to
Hmm.
see, and I know
Hmm.
you talked about 15 and all its negatives, but I think you said that because you seen the potential it did, and I think
Yeah.
from 16, I think they
Hmm.
realized their mistakes because
I hope so.
they're going back with what was the character's name in 15?
Noctis.
Noctis. It seems like they're just following the same route. Like Noctis when he was younger, older, mid-teens, whatever, and then getting older. They're doing that with Clive, and I'm like, they
Hmm.
probably realize that's a story they
Hmm.
want to keep telling, but I
Hmm.
think they found the format they're gonna do it so it doesn't seem all confusing like 15 had. Because you didn't just
Hmm.
have that opinion of it being, what's it called? Not convoluted, but like basically, all mixed up, where it didn't seem like um,
It, it,
it was
it
coherent.
wasn't exactly. It wasn't linear, but it also wasn't non-linear. It was just like
All
it
over.
was a. It was to me. It was a hot mess. It really was.
Yeah, I feel like because of that, they realize that's why they're starting off. When the kingdom falls, you see Clive when he's younger, and you see Joshua, and then that's why they specifically say you see him progress through his years to make it that
Hmm.
linear format that you want to see.
Hmm. Hmm. So with that though too, like, and I did say that, but the other concern I have with that, unless they do it like they did with Seven, where you could like seamlessly change chapters, right? Because we're talking about revisiting areas, right? Like I could only assume you're going to go through certain areas
More than
and
once.
more than once, yeah, and landscapes are going to change, right? Based on wars and battles and stuff of that magnitude. So, um, that's going to be interesting. That's going to be an interesting dynamic.
I think they're gonna do a good job because just from the engine, it looks like to the environment, and all that stuff, in the weather,
Hmm.
the change
Hmm.
between like the desert, jungle, and all that stuff. It looks like they're gonna nail it because there's games now that like if you played Lord of the Rings, Shadow of War, Shadow of Mordor, you go back to place, and if you conquered it or didn't conquer it, you could see the changing in the region. Hogwarts Legacy had the same thing where you progress throughout your whole year, and as you progress, it goes through the months, like winter, summer, spring, whatever. And I have a feeling, like you said, it's probably gonna change that as well. But then what was it? I think I seen that they also advertise an item where it's like a time band where after you beat the game, you can actually go back to certain points in that time to replay those things.
I might have missed that part.
I could be just I don't know if that was in State of Play or if I seen that as a Twitter post, but I
Hmm.
thought I seen something where after you beat the game, there is going to be like a
Hmm.
certain item you can get where you can actually specifically rewind certain events.
I believe so. I mean, because that's what, like I said, that's what Seven did, right? Like you've bit it, and then you could toggle to whatever chapter you wanted to, especially when it comes to 100% in it, right? So like as you're playing it, um, there will be missables, right? But they won't feel that punishing because you could go back to that particular point, right? Um, that's what I'm thinking too. Um, but yeah, I was giddy watching that thing because you start seeing all the different other Final Fantasy elements that people come to expect to see and love. Like, and I'm talking about like naming convention. Like, they showed the Maul Rule, which is always a staple in the Final Fantasies. Um, they showed Bahamut. They showed some other icons that were summons that probably aren't going to be something that you would inherit probably powers from, but you get to fight, which is pretty fucking cool. And they also had one that looked like just like planet fucking size, and it said something like icon unknown or something to that degree. And I was like, oh man, that's gonna be fucking. I don't know what to feel about that because like even when you know hate to keep falling off the rails here, but going back to Seven and the second from Final Battle when you're fighting the what's it called? Right before Sephiroth. The can't think of the name, but the big ass guy. I don't like in the moment you're like, oh, okay, this is cool, it's massive, it's big, but ultimately it's like, you know, I don't know if I really liked it that. So, but with icons, I mean, it's a little bit different because you're talking about monsters, right? It's not like your little itty bitty cloud fighting this big ass thing. You're actually embodying something different. So I think it makes more sense.
So is that what they're called?
Um,
Icons? I thought they were called
yeah, they're called
summons.
icons.
Okay.
Well, in every Final Fantasy, they're known as summons. but I shouldn't say every, but most Final Fantasies will call it a different name. So in this case, they're called icons. Like in Final Fantasy VI, they were called espers. Um, in 7, did they just call them summons? I think they just call them summons. I think 10, I think they're called something else in 10. Are they called something else 10? I don't know, but either way, yes. Moral of the story is they can have a different name, but
Okay.
ultimately they're summons.
Because when I see them, they almost like when you think of like primal beings, they look like the absolute embodiment of a primal being, just massive,
Yeah.
gigantic creatures that just live off the environment that they're supposed to inhabit, like the glacier icon, the what's the one that was in the volcano area or the mountain area?
Well, fire would be Ifrit, so that would probably be volcano, I would think. Um, Shiva is ice. Garuda is wind or arrow. Ground or earth is Titan. Odin is, I don't know what element Odin would be.
It sounds like wind or thunder.
Yeah, I mean, just like any type of fantasy set, there's the elemental origins of everything, right? Bahamut is a dragon, so his element is, I don't know what his element would be. Not really anything, I guess. But see, what other ones did they show? There was a one trailer where I think it was one of the first official ones where at the end they started, whoever was the voiceover was like naming all the icons or summons, and to me it was like so reminiscent of like Mortal Kombat for some weird ass reason. But it was pretty cool. Um, Shit, what other ones am I missing? Leviathan is water. Uh, what other major one am I missing? Trying to think.
I'm surprised they haven't made an icon off of chemicals yet. Because,
Chemicals?
well, obviously this one maybe not so much because it seems more medieval, but like in the future ones, there's a lot of corporations that deal with like mining through oil and all that stuff or whatever. What do they call it? What's that green stuff?
Uh, what stuff?
It's like green. It's like they had these giant factories. I think it was in 7, 8, and maybe
Oh, Mako?
12. Yeah,
Uh huh.
because like they have it on different planets too, and like you see them drilling this like liquid thing. I'm surprised they haven't made like an icon of that and like a life presence that came out of that.
Um,
A giant tar monster of garbage.
I'm trying to think. I mean, I'm trying to think if Seven actually did have a boss like that because they might have, but not in the remake, but the original. I just can't really think right now. No, but like the one like so the original Final Fantasy VII had a lot of summons that we're probably never going to see in any of these remakes. Um, 10 had some newer ones that weren't in previous Final Fantasies that did a good job. Like Yojimbo was a new one. I don't know did you play 10?
Honestly, at this point, I don't remember.
Okay,
I'm
10 is
I'm
with
lucky enough that I remember 7, dude.
yeah, because well, 10 is also very good. 10 is with Titus and Yuna, Waka, Auron, Riku. Riku is Babe. Um, so yeah. Anyway, now I'm just
Wait, hold
goading
on. Did
on
you
my
say
Final Fantasy
Riku is
knowledge.
Bay?
Yeah, or I said Babe, but yeah, Babe works too. Uh, she's like Tifa 2.0.
Oh,
Um,
it's funny that you say because in Kingdom Hearts is a character called Riku, but he's a guy. I thought you were saying. I
oh
thought
no no no
Riku was a guy. I'm like, what?
no.
He's
The cool
Bay.
thing, he's Babe. Baywatch. The thing that's funny about, or the thing that's interesting about 10, because not every Final Fantasy, but most of them have like kind of like a really renowned mini game that kind of goes with it. And 10 had that blitz ball, which was pretty much like soccer underwater, and that was kind of pretty cool. Um, but anyways, back to what was I going with this? We're talking about summons, right? Um, but part 6, the one I said I liked the best that was like pixelated, that one had a shit ton of summons in it, like so many summons.
We should do a side by side like alternate world let's play because I played only a handful of Final Fantasies. Most of the original because of PlayStation Plus, and
Hmm.
then Final Fantasy 7, um, and what was it? What's the girl with the pink hair? It was like X2 or 12 or whatever.
Oh, Lightning,
Yeah, I played that one.
13.
13. But I should probably play through the whole Final Fantasy series from start to finish, and
Oh, dude,
I want you to play Kingdom Hearts.
That's the trade-off.
Yes, because
Well,
I'll be
first
going through
off,
the full timeline, and then you'll be playing Kingdom Hearts because
well, see,
obviously,
there is no timeline. Every Final Fantasy is its own thing.
well, you know what I mean. I'm talking about like the number order going
Yeah,
forward.
yeah, yeah. Well, first off, I haven't even done that. I haven't even played every single Final Fantasy. Well, yes, exactly. No, I'm standing by that. I haven't even played. There's some I started, I didn't even finish, but I finished quite a few of them, or a lot of them. With that said, you will not do that. That would be
It would be
that
time
would take
consuming, but it would be done.
yes, yeah. That would be probably longer than a year of your time,
I'm
and
cool with that.
that's not counting 11 and 14 because those are MMOs.
Well, you gotta also think that Kingdom Hearts doesn't just have Kingdom Hearts 1, 2, and 3. They have Birth by Sleep. They have some of those like I don't know what you want to call them. It's like I guess music rhythm games and
Oh,
some other
come on,
stuff.
dude.
You gotta go through that because it also adds to the
No,
story.
no. See, that's silly. Now that's silly because like Final Fantasy has those too. So no, we're not going down that road.
But the reason why I say is because the whole Kingdom Hearts collection is on sale for like I think $10 on PS4, and you can get all the Kingdom Hearts games right there. Or okay, fine.
No,
At least play Kingdom Hearts 1, 2, 3, and Birth by Sleep.
I don't have time to do this. Just like you don't have time to do what you're talking about.
Eventually it'll be done. I'm not saying it has to happen right away,
You
but I'm
haven't
just
even started Octopath Traveler 2 and you're talking about Final Fantasies.
yeah.
See, the thing that's funny about Final Fantasies is like, and I guess why I always enjoyed them is because like, and I don't say this to shit on like games like this, but I always felt like I got my money's worth because every game usually is gonna pump 100+ hours out of me. Versus this, at best, like a dozen.
Okay.
If I really take it, uh, slow. I mean, these get fucking speed run in 2.5 hours. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm not doing that.
After you get
I'm
good,
not.
you can't just speedrun it right away.
No, no, no. That's my point. I know it's
And
not gonna
that's
be the
usually
first
after
run,
the sink hundreds of hours into them.
but even the first run is 8 to 12 hours
Yeah,
at best.
but then go through platinum and then do hard mode, survival
I'm talking.
mode.
I'm talking about pre-platinum days, pre-trophy days. That's what I'm saying. Like Final Fantasy games. Every game, if you want to do one, just pick one. I guarantee you're gonna pump in a shit ton of hours than you would with a game like this. And that's why I've always enjoyed them. And that's really just RPGs in general, to be honest. Um, but I know it's not everybody's cup of tea because some people will say, "Oh, they're too slow," or my favorite part growing up was like, "Well, there's too much reading." I'm like, "So, like, you're just now just coming off as an uneducated prick."
I will say though,
Like,
gaming nowadays has made me dumber because when you play modern day, now I'm saying this as a good and bad thing because like modern games do a lot of hand holding. Even the new Nintendo games do a lot of hand holding. But when I went to games I played when I was a kid, I'm like, man,
mhm.
they didn't help you at all. They just say do it, and
Yeah.
I'm like, my younger self was so much smarter than my current self.
So it's funny you say that because like, and I don't know if it's an age thing too for me personally, but to your point, yes, like the older games, you don't get that. I mean, the only time you would get that is if you then invested in like a Game Genie or Game Shark. But those also, for whatever reason, didn't always work great with RPGs because whatever coatings they do, like you may be. I mean, maybe some of them you did get God mode or something where you take no damage. I don't fucking remember, but nonetheless, yeah, there's no difficulty setting. You play it and you just have to succeed. Um, versus now, like we're just talking about 16, right? You get right at the start of the game, you get to pick your option. Do you want story play or action play? Story play
Casual.
gonna be extremely casual. It's gonna do everything for you: evade, parry. Uh, um, I don't know what else, but all that stuff. One button ultimate attack. I don't fucking know, but like but with that said, and my age, part of me likes that too, because it's like now enjoy like the story, and I don't want to be like too um, roadblocked with
Well,
something.
this is the beauty of gaming is that there's no right way to play. You play the way you want.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
why
that's true.
if I'm gonna give PlayStation any credit, it's their accessibility for their games. Like The Last of Us. Well, they probably have for the other games, but I only can speak for The Last of Us because I played it in depth. But like The
Hmm.
Last of Us 2, it could either be really challenging if you do like grounded survival and all that stuff and make everything super difficult, or you can make it the easiest game ever with accessibility options like ground invincibility or invisibility and all that stuff. So
Hmm.
because of their creative game difficulties and accessibilities with that game difficulties, it gives everybody on every single spectrum a way to play that game.
Hmm. Yeah, no, I agree. And to your point, like all because it's there doesn't mean you yourself have to utilize it.
Like for the
Like
hardcore, they could play on grounded ultra survival. Everything's limited, or if you just want to have a very casual experience and just play through the story, you could invis, shoot things, auto aim, whatever.
hmm I think for me, like I'm like more. It's how can I put it? It's like self-inflicting, right? Because it's like, oh, I have the option versus before I never did, right? So it's like,
Yeah,
it's there,
yeah, but
So
that's the great thing is
yeah,
because you choose it,
yeah,
that's the best thing is that it's not
mhm,
forced upon you. You get to choose
yeah.
whether you want it tough or you want it easy or in
Hmm.
between.
Do you like to be choked or not?
No glove.
No glove, no love glove. Um, but um, but yeah. So everybody loves what's his name? Torgal, the good boy.
Is that the blonde guy with the beard?
No, the dog.
Oh, who's the blonde guy then? The one that was in like that western town. That like when I say western town, but like Wild West town. He was with the girl. He came in. He was like blonde, short hair with a beard. He
I
wore
don't
like
know
a
why I don't
brown
remember that
coat.
one. I remember the stockier blonde dude that was holding or carrying the chick on his back, and I immediately thought about Holder.
Oh, you're talking
Holder,
about the guy
Holder.
where the girl's in the chair and he was like
Yeah,
thumping her
yeah,
around and her
yeah.
legs were
Like, come
dangling.
on, did you not think Holder?
I don't know if I thought that. I just thought it was funny that she was in the chair and her legs were just like bouncing back and forth.
Yeah, I swear to you. Well, once again, going back to the whole Game of Thrones inspiration, that's immediately when I'm like, fucking Holder.
No, the character I'm talking about is more of a. It seems like he's an actual like main character with Clive because he actually communicates with some of the other characters as well.
I don't know why I'm not picturing it because I thought the other guy that was with him was a darker haired guy as well, not a blonde.
I mean,
The chick was blonde.
was he dark? I swear he had a brown coat on, and it was in that same scene with where we saw that blonde girl with the white dress. There was another guy that walks up next to Clive. He's got a deeper voice. I swear he had blonde hair, but I could be wrong. He's got like a short hair.
I could be wrong too. I just thought that he was also dark haired. Whether it was brown or black, I don't remember, but I thought he was dark. But
But he seems like a cool character too. He just seems like that
yeah,
classic gunslinger.
yeah. I just like here's one hope I have. Talking about that would kind of also um, diminish my, dare I use the word, dismay for Clive being the only controllable character. Because they did say, you'll be able to, dare I use the word, recruit, or I'm going to say I hope you could recruit side characters that help you along the way, or that are AI controlled. I just hope they're not story driven recruited, meaning like, okay, they're going to join you for this next couple of spaces, then they leave, and then you get another one. Like I want something where I could recruit and like possibly level them up on the side, and then pick them in and out when I want to.
So I don't. I'm not saying this is a thing because I'm just making this up, and now I'm saying
Hmm.
this is what I would like to see because I've actually
Yeah.
seen games do this. So
Hmm.
imagine like an outpost in every town where it's like a bulletin board. You recruit
Hmm.
certain people, it generates a character randomly, and you use that character to go on missions. And if you keep them alive, you get bonus rewards. And if they die or they turn against you, you lose things.
No, I don't think that's how it's
No,
going.
I'm saying what I would like to
That's
see that
what
in
you
the
want. That's what you
yeah,
would
because
want.
like the fact that they're basically saying you're going to take over certain territories kind of gives me the idea that you could generate these characters like you could in like Shadows of Mordor or whatever. Obviously, I'm most likely that's never going to happen. But I'm saying
Mhm.
because you're actually taking over territory, I'd love to see like
Mhm.
a recruitment board where it just generates people, and if you keep them alive, you build your posse up, your gang or your guild, whatever you want to call it, and then
Mhm.
that's how you
Mhm.
take over more territories. And if you keep them healthy, you get stronger and stronger, more rewards with that.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, like to just borrow what you hope for in your concept. I mean, that's kind of what I'm hoping, but for like actual characters, right? Like meaningful characters. Not to say the ones you're talking about aren't, but like
Well,
the
they're
way
not.
I
They're
see
not.
it.
They're just generated to
Yeah,
be
exactly.
additional
Yeah,
characters.
that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Like the way you paint it, they don't sound like they're like fucking mercenaries and squires and shit, you know.
That's just a classic farm
Which
boy.
yeah, yeah.
He's got his pitchfork. He's only 12.
Like oh, he's dead. No one loved him anyway. But it's funny because that concept you're talking about actually exists in Final Fantasy Tactics.
Does it?
Um, yeah, like I mean, you have your main characters, but you would basically recruit slash hire just regular people that you would name and have to do that. And if they die and you didn't revive them in that battle, they're gone. They're gone forever.
So I'm gonna ask you a very stupid question, only because I want to hear your answer. I know it's coming to PS5. Did they say Final Fantasy 16 is coming to any other console? I know it's not on
No,
Xbox, but
no,
if it came to Switch, would you play it on Switch?
no, no. And I know why you did that.
Because I'm like looking at this trailer, and looking how big it is. I would love to see it on Switch just to see it have a heart attack.
You're such an asshole. Um, no, um, I mean, no. I can't even defend. I can't even think of a defense. It's like no, no.
I know that's why I said it was a stupid question because I just did just because I would love to see because like there's people that like to clamor for the Switch because
Yeah.
Final Fantasy is because it started off on like the SNES and all that stuff. People think
Mhm.
of it only as like a Switch game, and I know
Yeah.
there's a lot of people that actually do want it on the Switch, but I'm like, how would that even work?
Yeah. No. No. I think even Nintendo would have to laugh at that.
They're like,
Be like,
good luck.
do you want just chapter one?
We can give you intro. That's all we can do.
It freezes after the music intro plays. Um, yeah, no, that I'm sorry, but yeah, I would be like super fanboy if Nintendo would just come up with their own trophy system. Like, come on, man. They're,
Dude,
I mean, their games are great regardless, right? I mean, they totally are. But like, even going back to Odyssey, right? If you collect, what was it like, 1,200
no,
moons or whatever?
999 moons.
No, okay, sorry, I didn't do it. You did.
I
But
have the gold sale to prove it.
but like those are the things, right? It's like if they had a fucking system, like then I would be doing those things. Um. Anyways, I went off the rails there. Final Fantasy 16, folks. But yeah, no, I thought I was glad they did that. I think it's like going back. You know, I know this was our big topic for today, but now I kind of want to like topic 3 a little bit, and now put this and Zelda against each other for to kind of wrap up our pod, if you don't mind. Um, I'm just so like I know you said you think the game of the year is going to be between this and Hogwarts, and that's fine. Um, I'm just saying, do not count out Zelda. Absolutely, do not count out Zelda.
Well, I'm not counting out Zelda because of its performance, whatever. Because like it looks great. I'm just saying, just because of pure connection around the world and how big both of those games hold influence. I'm not saying Zelda doesn't hold
Yeah,
influence. It surely does.
no,
But
exactly.
Harry Potter Hogwarts Legacy has not just game influence, it has media influence, commercial
Correct.
influence,
True.
and Final Fantasy also kind of has that too. And Zelda only has the game influence. And if you look at, overall, I use the term influence because that's really what drives it. Whatever
Uh,
brings a cultural shock that year, like
what
Elden Ring did it with
the
commercials.
reason I'm saying this is because I don't remember the exact podcast, but I remember I think it was probably back in January or December or both, because I know like we tend to talk things multiple times. But we had discussed about the Mario movie, and you didn't think it was going to make a certain amount of money, and I said no, slow your roll.
No, I said it was gonna. I said I didn't think it was gonna be a great movie, which it turned out it was a great movie. But I said it was gonna make a lot of money because it's Mario.
We didn't make like a bet or a gentleman's bet, but I remember we
Oh,
discussed something
oh yeah,
where
where if it was gonna bring like Avatar money, and it's not going to. I said it was gonna
I
do
don't
really
know.
well. It
No,
wasn't
and
gonna
and
bring
and, and, and
billions of
that,
dollars.
no, it wasn't Avatar money because I know I quickly said I'm like, nah, let's go a little bit lower than that. But you gave a different comp, and I think it might have been just another Illumination movie comp or something, and we went oppos.
Oh,
And
Despicable Me. Like, would it be better?
it, like money, maybe it was that one, but needless to say, at the time I felt like you sold Mario a little short. Is all I'm saying.
Well, technically,
With
I'm
that,
still right because Despicable Me, well, Minions is still higher than that.
no, Mario just fucking proved that they made the most.
No, they
They're
made
the
they made the most for video game.
no, and for Illumination.
Well, we also gotta look at overall because we're just you're
Oh,
right now
it's going to overall.
because you're looking at just box office right now. Like
I
Minions
know,
and
I know,
Despicable Me have made
I
so
know.
much money through everything, and Shrek still holds the most because of all the DVD and re-releases and all that stuff. So, Mario, even though Mario's great, it still has a long way to go to catch up to those other movies.
We'll see. I'm still gonna
And I'm not
don't get you
discrediting
on
Mario.
that.
Like it's a great movie, and I'm happy for its success. But it still has a long line to climb if it wants to catch those other animated movies in overall money.
Anyways, anyways, I'm torn. I'm gonna enjoy both games. And I can't wait to actually do this podcast and give my final assessment as to which one I finally enjoyed better and my personal, I guess, game of the year. Because it's going to be between the two. For me personally.
I'm gonna make my prediction. I'm gonna say you're gonna like Zelda more than Final Fantasy 16.
But that's fine.
And the only reason why I say that is because just based off your opinions on what you liked and didn't like,
Hmm.
kind of almost proves that for me because I know I'm gonna enjoy Final Fantasy 16 just because of the combat, and I know you're
Hmm.
more of a tactical person than I am. So I feel like that's what's going to deter you from the open world gameplay and the creativity of Zelda compared to just straight combat with Final Fantasy 16. I think it's going to come down to a gameplay perspective.
Not entirely true. I mean, I evaluated more factors than that, like story and music and which female in the game gets naked. No, I'm just playing. But like, but no, seriously, like, I mean, I'm going to evaluate like on all those spectrums. And both of them have iconic music. They have their themes, so it's not like one. I mean, one still could possibly do better than the other overall, but you know, Zelda has their iconic theme. Final Fantasy is their iconic theme. Um,
We should do a poll, like a pre-prediction, what you think your game is,
Pre-prediction.
and
I think the pre. Oh God, even the pre. Oh my God. I mean, I can't do this now. We have equal footage of both. I am so torn, man. I am so torn.
because right now for me, I could tell you what mine is. Currently, as a pre-prediction, I also want to put this on social media to see what other people vote to. But for me, Final Fantasy 16 looks like it's going to win for me between the two. But if Zelda wins, that'd be like the upset for me. Well, when I say upset, I'm talking like competition wise, it'd be like shocking if it overturns and Zelda becomes so much better than Final Fantasy 16.
You see, the other part, well, pre-prediction wouldn't have any effect on this, but the other um, thing is, dare I say, 16 gets an edge, but just based on release, right? Like Zelda's going to come out next month. It comes out first. Going to go through it. Then 16 the next month, and that's going to be the more recent one. So that's the one to be that's more fresh, right? Um, man, man, it is so tough for me to give even my pre-prediction. Because I'm going to fucking enjoy both of them so much. I'm looking forward to both of them
All right,
so
let's make it
much.
a little bit more grand. Let's add a third competitor into this mix.
Oh, I don't
Final
need a
Fantasy
third.
7 Part 2. It's coming out this year as well.
It's supposed to. I don't think it's going to anymore. If I'm being honest,
It'd be
that
silly if they put two big titles in one year because I mean, pretty much this year was restacked from the Octopath Travelers 2. There's another Square Enix game. I can't remember the name of it. They came out that's pretty popular. Final Fantasy 16 and supposedly that. I'm like, you're putting big hitters in the ring first, 1 year.
that's what I'm saying. Like the self competition to some degree. I mean, yeah, Square Enix is having a fucking fantastic year.
Well, let's
Um,
just say a what if Part 2 of 7 comes out. What do you think it'll stack up to 16?
Oh, 200%.
Which one would you like more?
um, that would that would obviously depend on how they both turn out. Like 7, I already know how the story's supposed to go, right? So I don't know if you want to say that it's at a deficit because of that. Um, and it has an opportunity to hurt itself
Seeing
if
the
it
open
doesn't.
worldness of 16 makes me very hopeful for part 2
If
because
it's
of what they're going to do.
if it's exactly how you think it's going to be, then I hate to say, I don't even want to use the word landslide because that sounds very horrible, but 16 is probably going to overtake Zelda for me, and I'm just being honest. Um, but this game has the potential, man, to be something stupidly special.
All right, so it seems like we're pretty much already locking in Zelda and
I am. I
Final
know
Fantasy
you're throwing
16.
Hogwarts, and you have every right to
No,
throw
no,
Hogwarts. I'm not.
no, I'm talking about like let's say Game of the Year award. This is not
Yeah,
personal. So
yeah.
Game of the Year, when they do the awards, they
Hmm.
usually what they nominate 5 games or 4 games.
I thought it was maybe like 6 even.
Well, let's just say for the sake 5 games.
Okay, let's say 5.
I'm saying Hogwarts Legacy.
Hmm.
Obviously, Zelda's going to be in there. Final Fantasy 16. Who are the other 2 remaining spots? Because I wanted to
If
say
you,
Starfield at first, but seeing all the backlash that Xbox is getting from their previous games that are coming out, being how they're hyping it up like Starfield and Redfall and all that stuff, and saying that their performance actually capped more than they
hmm
originally said,
hmm
I'm
hmm
taking Starfield out of competition because
what
I think they already
what
lost.
what's the cutoff?
I think it's like November or December
So
8th.
it's really late then, huh?
Yeah.
Well, just based on what we know and what we've already experienced, and it's only been a quarter year, at this point, RE4 kind of sneaks its way in, I
You think that's
think.
number 4 spot?
I think it sneaks in right now.
So it's going to be on the nomination list, but it's funny that we're almost saying it's going to be on the nomination list, but it's most likely not going to win compared to the other stacked lineup.
Oh, I'm not talking about when. I thought we were talking about nominations.
Well, yeah, I'm
Yeah,
doing
yeah,
both.
yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so we're running down the
No, I,
nomination
I,
as well.
I would sneak that one in nominations. Hmm. Trying to think what else is coming out later that has that gravitas.
Um, there was a game I was looking at.
Because I don't think 7-2 will make that cut. It won't make that. Even if it does come out on time, it won't make that cut. Um. Hmm.
So I'm gonna say a game, and I have a feeling it's not gonna make it, but I'm gonna give it the benefit of the doubt because it has made a surprising amount of waves. Is Wulong Fallen Dynasty? Because it's coming off the hype of Elden Ring, and Wulong Fallen Dynasty kind of gives you that hard challenge mode factor, and
Hmm.
it's ended up surprising a lot of people on how good it was. I'm gonna put that as maybe potential squeeze in list to 5, just because it shocked a lot more people than it originally thought it was.
Does Norman Reedus's best friend and whatever his dude's best friend have a game coming out this year? Because it always seems his games get nominated.
Hideo Kojima.
Yeah, him.
I know he's got Death Stranding 2 in the works, but I don't think that comes out this year.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what would be that fifth spot right now.
So I'm putting Wulong in that 5th spot, but that's only because it seems like that's the only one that made some kind of waves in this stacked lineup.
hmm Yeah, I don't. Right now, I don't know. Like, but that's just as it stands out, and then also knowing what's supposed to come out. I guess Spider-Man 2, maybe.
Does that come out this year?
I think so.
Oh, if that's the case, I'm taking Wulong. I'm putting Spider-Man there. It's already immediately overtaken.
Okay.
Because let's be honest, Spider-Man just has the influence itself. The name itself is already gonna put in that spot.
hmm I'm
But
pretty sure that
I,
comes out this year.
I highly doubt it'll overtake Game of the Year. Like it'll put in the
No.
nomination category, but I don't think it
Yeah.
wouldn't get Game of the
Same
Year.
same with RE4. Um. So okay, so you're plugging that. Okay, so we're still thinking of another fifth one. Uh.
Sorry, Wulong. I try to give you a chance.
Yeah, I don't know. I would have to do some googling searches. Uh,
But so your opinion is it's like for actual winner, you think it's gonna be between 15 and Zelda
16 and
or
Zelda.
16 and Zelda.
I still believe. I know you're given um a
I'm
lot of your
saying Hogwarts
dollars
Legacy
to
and 16.
Hogwarts. Yeah,
Those are my two
no, I
top
think
competitors, and you're saying Zelda and 16.
yeah, I think it's between Zelda and
So
16.
the fact
I
that
really
16
do.
is in both of our lists kind of almost cements it as most likely potentially game of the year if it's received well in the beginning.
So I think I have a fifth, depending on how well it does. When you talk about like in the what's it called?
Grand
In the
slam.
in well yeah in the influential space. Diablo 4 might be one. Might
you, you think it's
might
gonna squeeze its way on the nomination list?
yeah, for sure. I would if it's successful and it gets all the pub from like streaming and stuff, I could see it sneaking in. And especially since Blizzard already said they're going to release new story content every 3 months, so therefore there in theory should be a couple storylines before the rewards that could actually kind of reinvigorate people's to keep it in the news, right?
Hmm.
I could see that sneaking in for sure. The other one, if it fucking gets released, Jedi Survivor, maybe. That
I
has a
forgot
very
about.
huge influence. Star Wars. I would say those two would be. I would even go as far as saying Diablo 4, even bumping Resident Evil 4 out.
So that's the thing is
Maybe.
that Resident Evil 4 is on the chopping block here
Yeah.
because of Spider like if Spider-Man does come out this year, just the name alone is gonna put us on a nomination list. And I forgot John Jedi Fallen Order is actually coming out this year. I thought it got pushed back to next year. But
Yeah,
if
I
that's
don't
the
know
case,
either.
because of just their names alone, their influence in all forms of market, it would probably knock both Diablo and Resident Evil 4 out. Like I know you're hoping, and I feel like Diablo 4 is gonna do well. It's just, dude, those are two heavy hitter names right there. It's gonna be hard to overtake those unless if Diablo 4 just knocks it out of the park with gameplay in every aspect.
Well, I mean, I'm not like putting a lot of stock in Diablo 4. I'm just saying I think it has
The potential.
the potential to sneak its way in, right? Kind of like how you were given
Wolong.
Wolong.
Yeah.
It's yeah, I think that's kind of the same space
but then
Diablo
when I heard
Four
the
is
other
in.
names, I'm like, all right, it's knocked out.
um, so I think that's gonna be the list right there. Unless there's some wild card one that we don't know of that gets like this really crazy streamer influence, like an Among Us type
Among Us
situation.
too.
Yeah, I think I think that's your list.
Do you know how big of an upset that would be for the gaming industry if an indie developer wins Game of the Year out of these whole stacked AAA studios?
I mean, like when you talk about the influence aspect of the voting, possible. I just don't know what crazy world type turn would need to happen for that to happen. But yeah,
Well, we clearly seen it. Like Elden Ring, Among Us, they because how much they affected this general culture itself. That's why they're put on the list. Two separate years. What was it? Did Among Us win Game of the Year for 2019?
I don't remember. I
I
know
know
they won awards that year,
I know they were in the
like
category
a
for
lot
Game of
of
the Year.
awards. Yeah,
And
I don't know if
then
they
Elden
won.
Ring won Game of the Year last year because of how much it influenced all forms of media. So,
Mm-hmm.
it just shows that if a game's good and it speaks for itself, like Elden Ring, I'm not gonna say the story was fantastic, but the gameplay clearly spoke for itself.
I'll go. Ooh, I'll. I don't know why I'm doing this, but I'm gonna make crazy prediction for next year. It'll probably be between 7-2 and Grand Theft Auto 6.
Grand Theft Auto 6 is coming out next
No,
year?
but I'm saying it's gonna come out. That's what I'm saying. I'm making a crazy prediction.
Well, if Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out, I don't want to give it any kind of credit because I think it's overrated in my opinion. I'm
Mhm.
saying that and I'll stand by it. But
No, that's
because
fine.
of the influence GTA 5 has, and how it's stayed relevant from 2013 to 2023. 10 years of
Yeah,
relevancy. It
yeah,
just shows that GTA 6 will just automatically be guaranteed. It's like a shoe in to win.
yeah, yeah. That'll be my prediction for next year. Um, but once again, if it comes out. Anyways, back to this year. I'm still sticking. It's going to be between Zelda and FF16. You say it's going to be FF16. Hogwarts, we both have 16, so therefore we think 16 is going to win. Um, but I would love to get, and I mean, I won't be upset. It's out of my hands anyway. But we'll see what my vote is going to be once I play them both. I think.
We'll obviously
I can't I
revisit this
can't lean I
later.
can't lean either way. I'm just hyped about both, dude. I swear to you, I'm like so torn.
So either way, it's a win-win all around. We're all excited for
Yeah,
the
it's a
games
it's a
that are
win-win in
coming
all the
out.
raw. Yeah, for sure,
So we'll
for
obviously
sure.
revisit this after we played both. We'll talk about Zelda when it comes out in literally less than a month. Obviously Final Fantasy
Hmm.
16. Most likely I might play it at launch. We'll see how that goes. I still
I
might.
think you have to now. I think you have to now.
I have
You
to.
you you're sold.
But I really would love to hear other people's opinions on this. What they think Game of the Year is, who they have matched up against, and who they think is just taking the crown.
I concur. Share
Because
your comments.
that's really
Put
what
them all
matters.
there.
It's just fun little banter. I mean, whoever wins, it doesn't matter because realistically, gamers all around this year are winning in all aspects because all these different genres coming out from open world RPGs to actions to story. Everybody's winning. Everybody's eating good.
Definitely eating good. Steak every night with a glass of old fashioned. But great discussions. It's gonna man. The only thing that sucks about this, even though we're gonna be eating good, is it's in the heart of summer. Like that's the only part that sucks about it to me.
so
Not like I go out all the damn time, but like that's the little part to me that's a little like ugh. Like, but other than that, I mean that's minute. But
I want to add something because I'm not sure if you've seen this. I was gonna make it a topic, but I didn't know if you actually wanted to talk about it. But so if you've seen recently, if you're on social media, Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League got delayed till
mhm,
2024, and they're
correct.
saying because of performance issues. I think that's a lie. I think the reason why they delayed it is because they seen how stacked this year was, and they realized they had no contention within the lineup of being bought or sold and being profitable because of the lineup.
Well, I'm gonna disagree with you only because look at Gotham Knights.
Well, okay, it's funny that we're saying this because I was really harsh on Gotham Knights in the beginning, and then I played it, and I realized that it was a lot better than people were saying. The media made it sound terrible, but it's not. The combat is great. The story was okay, but the combat is really what sold me on it.
Okay, the combat sold you, but I guess graphically, how it upheld to the previous ones, it got worse, right? Wasn't that the whole thing?
Yeah, they're talking about frames and then the look, but when you play it, you what?
That wasn't for you. That wasn't for you.
Oh,
Keep going.
uh, but when you actually play it, you realize that it's very minor and really certain aspects might be downgraded or enhanced in other ways.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like yes, visually it might look less, but the smoothness is better.
Yeah, I mean that was a blind defense, by the way. But who knows? But even if they did, I don't think next year is going to be any easier if that's something they really want to do. I think the other part, and this might I don't know what's the right word to use for this, but I think the other aspect of it is isn't this the last game they're using? Um, my apologies for forgetting his
Conroy?
name. Yes, Kevin, his
Yeah.
voice.
Well, yeah, because he's dead.
So well, yeah, well that part's true too. But no, but they actually got him to do his job, right? So
Yes.
they could actually use his voice. So like I don't know, maybe there's a part where they really want to do it justice because it's the last time they're gonna get to use him. Um, I mean, who knows?
Obviously, it's an opinion thing, but I
Yeah,
really think it's because they're scared of the games that are coming out and they realize that it won't be profitable if they release with this lineup. That's my assumption.
I don't know. I hope. I mean, who knows, right? You could be 200% right. I don't know
Because let's
if
be
it would
honest,
be more or less profitable if it's not with the competition. Because I think like people like me. First off, I'm not even sold on it yet, to be honest. So they still got to do that. But if I was, I don't think it would ever deter me from playing it. I
and
mean, I'm
and
sorry, for purchasing it like day one. Like me personally, I know I can't speak for everybody. I would still be buying it, so therefore they would get my money. I just wouldn't be playing it right away because
I,
I'd be focused on something else.
and the reason why I'm saying this is because games have done that, saying it's a performance issue, and that's why they delay it. Because
Hmm.
like if you look at Star Wars Survivor, it was
Hmm.
originally supposed to come out the same time Zelda was coming out, but then somehow there was an issue, and they pushed it back like 6 weeks, 7 weeks, and I think they're
Well,
afraid to launch the same time as Zelda.
well, that also then supports Zelda being the badass that it is. But Zelda was delayed. Who knows how long? I don't even know if we ever we don't know, but it's been delayed as well. But uh, Nintendo hasn't been scared to shy away from delaying games either, because like the quotes out there, at least I forgot how they say it. Um, releasing a game on time that's crap will forever be crap, but delaying a game that ends up being good will be good forever, something like that. So you know, I don't know, man. Hopefully it is for the right reasons. I don't know. But, I feel like Zelda being delayed is for the right
Well,
reasons.
yeah, but they did that way early on.
True.
Once they locked in that date, they didn't change it after that.
True. True. That part is
Because
true.
after if you look at the timeline, after Zelda officially concreted its date,
Everyone's
somehow
like, whoa, whoa.
somehow Star Wars was like, yo, hold up, we're having issues.
If any of that is true, that is some funny shit. I would love to know if that's true.
You got to be honest. It's happened before. Like EA has done this before, and I think they learned because EA has actually blindsided them. So there's a game called Titanfall 2. The fans loved it. Everybody loved it that played it. But their issue was they released it with two other big games at the same time, and it got completely overshadowed where it didn't make any money.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense, and dare I say, it makes sense even to be commonplace in the video game industry because we know it's commonplace in the movie industry. Um, so it wouldn't surprise me. I just think it's hilarious though that oh, did you see that Zelda? They confirmed the release date. Time to push ours back. Like that is very comical. And if
but
there's any truth, I think that supports how good it's gonna be.
yeah, but like obviously this is just my assumption, but just seeing how things have shaped up in the past, and also this being an EA game, I'm like they probably don't want to get overshadowed
Makes
again.
sense. That does make sense.
So, is there any
Uh,
more you want to add to this?
um, no, no. I think um, it was just also interesting that both of them released their new stuff on the same day. Like, so you just know that
They're like, we're
like
confident.
that they're both confident and they're both gonna duke it out, which I love. Since I'm also a fan of both of them, neither one of them is stepping back to give the other the spotlight
When does
for
16 come out again?
um June 7th, June. It's gonna come out right around the same time as Diablo 4. Not that I'm giving Diablo 4 any they wouldn't be worried about Diablo 4.
Diablo 4 is like, we're having technical issues
Yeah,
right
yeah,
now.
yeah. Blizzard's like, oh, those sixes, they're supposed to be nines. Um, yeah. Even though I'm looking like I'm talking about how great I'm looking forward to, it's because my mindset on Zelda. That's why it's like I know it's the month after Zelda. I don't know the exact date, um, but that's because I'm yeah, like you said, we're gonna be eating good.
But of course, we would love to hear everybody's opinions on this. Let us know on social media or comment section on whatever streaming platform you choose. But is
All of
there,
them.
yeah, all of them. But is there anything more you want to add to this, or are we just gonna say we're gonna revisit it? Clearly, in
Yeah.
less than a month for Zelda, and then obviously again in another month for.
Well, I think Zelda at this point, there's probably going to be limited discussions, um, because that was the final official trailer, right?
No,
So,
I'm saying what we're gonna revisit this after the game comes out May 12th.
oh yeah, oh fucking yeah, of course. I thought you meant like talk about it again before it comes out. No, I think at this point, we're probably done with the Zelda discussions
Until it comes out.
until it comes up. Oh fuck. We're probably that week. We'll probably have to do a pod on Thursday. I'm just saying.
Does it come out Friday?
It comes out on Friday.
We'll have to look.
Because we're not. I'm not sacrificing Zelda time for.
You sacrifice the time. I tell you, you sacrifice. Hold on. Let's see. Let's look at the date right now. May 12th is a Friday.
Yep.
Unless you go to midnight release Thursday, you take Friday off, you play the game up until the podcast we talk about, then you go back to playing games.
Absolutely not. We're doing the podcast on Thursday.
All right.
We'll see. But that's probably what's gonna happen. But anyway, just like Josh said, please feel free and leave us some comments, and we'd love to hear them. And we wanna nerd out with all you guys as well. So please do so. Until next time, this was episode 32 of the Automatic Podcast. Until next week, love y'all and deuces.